Moments away from kickoff here in New Orleans, and of course the big news in town is about, yes, Sean Payton back in the mix for the Saints on Friday. The team announced that the two have agreed in principle to a 5-year, $7.5 million contract extension. For more on that, let's go down to the sideline and Krista Boda. Hey, Krista.
Hey, Ron. Yeah, talk about a homecoming. Not only was Sean Payton in town Friday night, crazy. Not only has an energy blanketed this city, it has infused this team. A few moments ago, I had a chance to talk with defensive end Will Smith, who was a part of the Bounty Gate controversy. I said, how big of a deal is this? He looked at me and said, bigger than you know. Now, one thing to remember, Ron and Mike, this deal still has to be approved by the league before the contract is a done deal.
Great point, Krista. And of course, Payton's original contract extension, the contract that really kind of started all of this mess, announced in September of last season, was voided by the NFL. Then Bounty Gate happened, and you know, everything kind of went in another direction, the rumors, so on and so forth. But I think for everyone here in New Orleans, Coach, they've got a sigh of relief.
Well, no question. The effect he's had not just on this organization, but the city of New Orleans is really remarkable.
Morstead going to the Pro Bowl representing the NFC as the punter. Will put this one out of the end zone, and a first look at Cam Newton. And Cam Newton has been outstanding down the stretch. And, Coach, you've talked about it all season long. He has matured, and he understands, we think, that the coaching staff, what they want him to do, and he's trying to do it.
Well, Ron, I think what you said, he understands what they're trying to do is the key here. He doesn't improvise like we saw him do earlier. He's trying to affect the defense the way the coaches have coached each play. He's making really good decisions right now.
Start from the gun, fakes the Tolbert. Pressure, and it's dropped. Smith had the comeback ball. Patrick Robinson in on the coverage. D'Angelo Williams will get the call today, the start. He has been switching off time with Jonathan Stewart, but Stewart is bothered by that bad ankle, so he will not finish out the season. Up front, a lot of changes. Byers represents the third string center. Austin, along with Williams, are backups at the guard spots. Protection, coaches, you always say, will be key up the gut.
And no question, the very first play here, we saw the Saints go after him with a safety blitz and jam the gaps up inside. So they're going to test him out on every snap on any kind of a passing situation.
Here's a test, empty backfield. Quick throw. That's LaFell. LaFell, the LSU product, shakes and bakes, gets about 4 or 5 yards. They'll be looking at a third and about 4 coming up. Defensively for the Saints, they've had their issues. They come into this game ranked last in the NFL, giving up a whopping 434 yards per game.
Well, but that linebacker crew, I think, is really solid. You look at the numbers, I think it reflects it. Lofton's having just an outstanding year, but all three are heavily involved in the tackles. There's some other issues here personnel-wise that they're going to have to address, but I think that the linebacker crew is very solid.
This is a 3rd and 6. Pressure around the corner, hit as he's thrown. And that ball intended for Lewis Murphy. Martez Wilson comes around the corner and gets the pressure.
And you can see him loop right through here. Did a great job with his hands and throwing the hands of the blocker away here, and was able to dip and get his hand out. You know, that's a drill you do every day with defensive linemen.
Right.
They've got that dummy standing back there with a fake arm on it, and these guys warm up doing that every day. Well executed.
Panthers will punt it away. That's Nortman punting to the always dangerous Darren Sproles, and Sproles dancing. We've got a flag down as Sproles goes down at about the 27-yard line. Check in our first call of the day with referee Al Riveron.
Number 36 of the kicking team ran out of bounds before being touched. The 5-yard penalty will be added to where the ball became dead. First down, New Orleans.
The legal touch there by Armand Smith. So Drew Brees, boy, what a year he's had. And as you say, Coach, we're not quite sure how he doesn't make the Pro Bowl in the NFC there. The NFC going with Rodgers, Ryan, and RG3. But Brees continues to set records, on the verge of another record, needing 219 passing yards to be the first NFL quarterback with consecutive 5,000-yard passing seasons. First and 10, they'll try to throw pressure. Reloads it and finds Colston. Another flag is down, but Colston is across midfield. That's a pickup of 18 if it stands.
The officials, looks like it's pass interference or illegal use of the hands here.
Illegal contact, number 41 in the defense. That penalty is declined. The result of the play is a first down.
That's Captain Munnerlyn.
And you look at Drew Brees at the beginning of the season. Marcus Colston was injured. He had that plantar fascia. He fought through so many injuries within that group. And when you don't have those pieces, your numbers are going to be a little affected. But, well, I tell you, second half of the season, he has been lights out.
Mark Ingram will start at the tailback spot. He'll get the call downhill. Maybe one. Offensively, the Saints across the board. We talked about Ingram. Jed Collins missed last week. He'll go at the fullback spot. Colston has dropped a lot of balls, but as you say, Coach, that injury can mess with your mind a little bit.
Well, it does. You have a foot injury as a wide receiver, and when that ball gets there, it's in your mind. It does affect how well you catch a football, regardless of whether they want to say it. It just does.
Tyree Evans, 4th Pro Bowl, 2nd most in team history, next to Big Willie Rowe. 2nd and 9 throw. The long corner route, and it's high, intended for Jimmy Graham. Munnerlyn in on the play. He got a hand on it. Defensively for Carolina, they're going to go with Alexander along with Charles Johnson at the ends. Edwards, Curse up front. You won't see Greg Hardy. Hardy, the team's leading sack man, not here today for personal reasons.
And Luke Kuechly is having one of those banner years inside as well, leading the league in tackles, and moving him to the Mike Backer position has just been an outstanding move. And boy, has he flashed here just in the last few games.
Saints third down numbers. Empty backfield. Brees hangs in there, skips that one out to Graham. The pressure is there, and that will make the Saints have to punt.
Well, you know what they're doing defensively is what so many people try to do, is they try to affect pressure up in Drew's face because of his height. And any time that you can get any kind of push here and make him move to get into a passing lane, that gives time for those ends to squeeze the pocket and get a hand on him. And that's exactly what had happened there.
So Morstead on. Morstead, the NFL's leading punter we mentioned earlier. He will make a trip to the Pro Bowl. Trying to finish the season leading the NFL in net punting average. Puts that one out of bounds. More Cam Newton and the Panther offense coming up. Are those the same Gators that are in town for the Sugar Bowl? Huh?
No, that actually was a picture of me at breakfast this morning.
Brees looking over the Polaroids. But for now, this will be Cam Newton looking over this Saints defense. The Panthers on the 3-game win streak. They've won 4 of the last 5. They'll try the left side. That's Williams. And he's chopped down quickly. Jonathan Vilma with the tackle.
I think Ron Rivera has done a remarkable job with his football team. They've been so competitive, losing so many games just within 6 points or less. A couple where they've lost in the final minutes there. They couldn't finish it off, and that was early in the season. They've learned to finish it off, but the defense that he's built here is a championship-type defense. They're 8th in the league, and they're doing nothing but getting better.
A loss of 1 on the play. Fake to Williams, out to Olsen, and Olsen, he's having his own record-setting year. He's close to a first down. I think he got it. Isa Abdul Kudus with the tackle. On the other side, interim head coach Joe Vitt. And Joe Vitt, 5-4 as interim head coach. He was suspended for 7 weeks as a part of the Bounty scandal, but boy, does he bring a lot of energy, a lot of enthusiasm, a guy that you've coached with in the past.
Well, what Joe does such a great job of, he's a dynamic leader when he talks to the team, but he keeps this team focused in a very difficult situation. Another remarkable job of coaching this year by Joe Vick.
That was a quick shot there of Aaron Cromer, who stepped in to replace Vick initially. Nice spin move by Newton. And boy, that's vintage Cam Newton. He'll be shy of the first down by a lot, but still a nice play, pushed out of bounds by Jordan to pick up a 3.
Well, and you know, so many times you see him like to spin out to the left, but he couldn't do that. He took away that angle, and how do you do that? You know, that's such an unusual athlete. There's just so many athletes that are starting at quarterback today that can't even come close to doing those kinds of things, and that's a dimension that he brings to the game now, and that's kind of, you know, that new wave quarterback that has the type of mobility that we're looking at.
This is the 2nd and 7. Give to Tolbert. Big Mike Tolbert pushing the pile. And there's another questionable Pro Bowl snub as he picks up 5.
Boy, he just absolutely is outstanding on special teams, as we know. One of the better ones in the league. Catches the football, runs with the football so well. 3 dimensions. Outstanding fullback. I think, for my money, he's the best there is.
Carolina finishing up the season strong. Really, both teams, the Saints 0-4. I think the Saints were trying to find their bearings, really. You lose your head coach. You know, you switch everybody around on your coaching staff. You can understand the adjustment period. This is a 3rd and 2. The quarterback keep, and then some. Cam Newton, and Newton down inside the Saints' 45-yard line. Finally brought down by Elbert Mack. Well, that's a nice pickup.
And it's a quarterback draw. He's not accounted for in man coverage, and he's going to pause. It's basically a lead draw with the quarterback. What you don't realize until you stand next to him down there on the field is just how big and strong he is. I mean, he's an intimidating presence physically, and he does so many things, run the football, that there's nobody else in the league at that position can do.
16 yards on the pickup. Olsen sets up the block. Williams with a cutback, and he's got a lane. D'Angelo Williams, nice open field tackle. Boy, that could have gone for a lot more. Robinson coming up and making the tackle in the open field, a pickup of 4.
But, you know, we said earlier in the year this football team needed to get that running game with the backs going again. And with Jonathan Stewart out, D'Angelo Williams has really resurfaced, much like we saw earlier in his career. Run through arm tackles. He's lost that hesitation. He's playing with pizzazz and fire again. And he has been a real reason why this team has had so much success coming down the stretch.
2nd down and 6. 1 back set. Pump and go. Middle of the field, and it's dropped. Murphy had it, couldn't hold on. Let's go out to Los Angeles for a Giants update. Here's Kurt Menefee.
Interesting start to the Eagles and Giants. Philadelphia recovered an onside kick to start the game, but then Michael Vick threw an interception on that first possession. Giants turned it into points. Eli coming up with Ruben Randall, 3 yards on the score. Giants need it 7-0. Ron and Mike, they need to win and get lots of help to make the playoffs. But so far, so good for New York.
Yeah, you're talking about a lot of help. They need Dallas to lose or tie, Chicago to lose, and Minnesota to lose. A lot of things got to go on. Things are going on here. This is a loud 3rd and 6. Newton throws. He's got LaFell and then some. First down inside the 25-yard line. Brandon LaFell brought down by Raphael Bush, a pickup of 19 yards.
And they've had 2 drops now, one to stop the previous, their opening drive, which really would have given them a big play. And they fouled this up, the second drop here, with a big play. Split the defenders here in the zone. He idled it down, and he was able to buy some time. And really, when you look at that front now, doing a remarkable job for 3 guys that have been kind of thrown in there at the guard and center position, handling the New Orleans group on the other side.
2 third down conversions on this drive for Carolina. Keep on chucking it. Pressure. A little bit of a hold. They didn't catch it. The comeback, and that ball should have been picked off. Abdul Kudus filling in for the injured Malcolm Jenkins. He almost had it. The pressure there you saw by Cameron Jordan.
And the thing about Cam Newton that people don't really feel until you get down on the sideline is when he's out on the perimeter with the football, there isn't a throw that he can't make, whether it's a touch throw or the deep ball. Some guys are somewhat limited but he can put that ball wherever he wants, and had some remarkable throws last week on the run on these scrambles. And once he gets outside, those receivers now can buy time and come back and make those kinds of big plays.
Second down and 10 throw. Screen. Williams chopped out of bounds at about the 18.
Well, you take a look at Cam last week, looked just like what we saw happen here. He's going to end up bailing out here to the right on a scramble, and what he does so well is when he's on the move, he actually starts down towards the line of scrimmage, and that's one of the reasons he's so accurate. But that was a terrific touch throw to the back of the end zone. You can see you want him to kind of start downhill and not let your shoulders get into the throw. But look at the touch on this pass, and one of the reasons that he is so unique and such an elite passer, some of the things that he can do out on the perimeter, not many people can do.
Johnny Patrick with the tackle. A pickup of 3. Going to the corner, he's got his man. That's Olsen. Olsen down to the 2-yard line. Tackle on the play by Bush.
But in that type of throw, you've got to get that ball on him quick, because they're backing up a little bit, but they can squeeze and cut that throw off immediately. So that's got to be a rope, and he feels all that, and he has that type of changeup. He put that ball right on his numbers. I'll tell you what, that ball got there in a big hurry.
And for Olsen, he is now the team single season record holder for receiving yards by a tight end, eclipsing Wesley Walls back in '99. First and goal. They'll try to pound it right down the middle. That's Mike Tolbert. Didn't get much.
It didn't look like, inside between the guards, they just what we used to call grab grass and yell tiger. You can't root them out of there. I would expect an off-tackle power just because of the technique that they're using in the gaps here. They're so doggone low. You'd like to block down those guys and maybe get the ball off tackle. We've seen him run the option. This is their favorite area run, the dive option. Show it to the back, pull it, we can't run with it.
They bring in an extra tackle, 13th play of the drive, and knocked away. Intended for Richie Brocco. Issa Abdul Kudus all over it.
And, you got to give credit here to the New Orleans Saints for matching up and spinning around, picking up the flat defender. That's the basic NFL goal line pass, and so often you can get that tight end to the back of the end zone, but they recognize it and matched it immediately. Did a real good job. He's one-on-one sitting out here now. That's a nice opportunity.
Third and goal. Looking for Steve Smith. Oh, and he was pushed. Wow. Patrick Robinson may have gotten away from one. Maybe they called it a non-catchable ball.
It looked like the ball was thrown so far out of the end zone. I'm not sure it was catchable. And it looked like, yeah, you can see how far it lands past the white out there. But I really believe that he came here, and I think the quarterback expected him to go there. And Steve bent up towards the back of the end of the goal line there and really got off his course there and fooled the quarterback.
So this will be Graham Gano. He'll go from 20 yards out, should be a chip shot. It is. So a long drive by the Panthers, kind of doing what they've done the last 3 games. Don't turn the ball over, and that man starts it, finishes it. Can't get 6, but they'll take the 3.
Ain't no question. But take a look at Cam Newton here. He put that ball at the back pylon where you coach him to do this, and Steve Smith, for some reason, bent back towards the back of the end zone, and Cam come over and kind of mentioned to him, hey, man, you weren't where I thought you'd be. Of course, there's a little dialogue going back there, and I think, for the most part, I think Steve Smith, the way he started this game, needs to listen to Cam here a little bit.
Boy, the Panthers have been on fire offensively lately. No turnovers in 6 of the last 8 games, and they've been getting yardage in chunks.
Well, they have, and they had 2 big drops, one by Steve Smith and then basically a poor route there by Steve, fooling the quarterback, but they'll put this thing together. Really impressed with Cam Newton's patience and just his feel for the game right now where he is as a quarterback.
Cadet will sit on it. They'll take it at the 20 in the Big Easy. They're happy down here. They've got their coach back. Now let's see if they can finish the season the right way. So Drew Brees and the Saints will set up shop. Ball spotted at the 20-yard line. As you look back over at the Panthers sideline.
What they're doing defensively, Carolina, is they've let those ends come inside on the pass rush and really create a wall of bodies in his face. I wouldn't be surprised to see them go to some perimeter runs and screens.
Bootleg, the quick throw off the mark intended for Sproles. And boy, if you don't think that Sean Payton has had a huge effect on this team, you just got to look at the numbers when Payton is there versus when Payton is not there as head coach. It is a big difference.
Well, no question. And what he's brought is a culture change here and a philosophy that can't be duplicated. That's his personality, and this team has taken on his personality. You just can't change that and not expect to have difficulty.
69, Eric Olson steps in as an extra offensive lineman. Boy, but you look at the pursuit there by the Panthers defense. Munnerlyn along with about 5 others, a pickup of 1. And this is what I'm talking about from the time he was there until the time he leaves. You can see the differences in what the team has done.
Well, and I think when you look at teams like the Patriots, the Giants, the Packers, there's a consistency, strong leadership, a philosophy, and a great quarterback. And that's what this organization has, and I think it gives them hope and the potential to be in the race each year that they're there.
Saints starting off slow. This is a long 3rd down, and it's caught. That's a big pickup. Graham. Brees threaded the needle on that one.
And he's moving defenders with his eyes, but I don't know if there's anybody more accurate down the field. This is such a tight window, and you look at where these defenders are and where he has to put that ball. He put it on his back number so that the safety doesn't have a shot at, but look at the ball location if we can stop it. Here's the window, but he's going to put that ball right there so that the safety doesn't come over and clock him and gives him a chance. Just terrific accuracy.
A switch up. This is Ivory. Chris Ivory with a nice spin move. And he'll be close to another 1st down, if not have it.
And what they're trying to do with these ends is they don't want to be upfield against him and just have him deal with a 2-man rush inside. They're freeing up these ends to go inside, and that's why that run popped outside the defensive end there. This is effective against Drew because it gets a lot of bodies in his face in the passing game, but it's a little, you're hanging out there in the running game a little bit.
Pickup of 9. He put the spin move on Kuechly. That ball dropped, and Graham drops more than anybody in the NFL. Let's go out to Los Angeles. Here's Kurt Menefee with an update.
Houston can wrap up the top spot AFC with a win today against Indy, but not yet. Andrew Luck picking up with Kobe Fleener on the touchdown, and Chuck Pagano's first game back after his battle with leukemia. Colts on top, 7-0. Ron, Mike, and Kristen.
All right. What a story there. What a story. Just
Chuck Pagano.
Yes, Chuck Pagano back on the sideline again. I think everybody's pleased to see that and excited for him.
Saints back on the ball quickly on the 3rd and 1. That's Mark Ingram. And Ingram, the team's leading rusher, will have the first easily.
You know, and I think the dynamic between Drew Brees and Sean Payton, head coach and quarterback, because of how good both of them are at what they do, even losing one of those, it just destroys everything. And it's just not the same. No matter how good the quarterback would come in to replace him or the head coach, that chemistry's lost. And it's very important to get Sean Payton done.
End around. That's Joseph Morgan. And Morgan, he gave up on that one clearly. The Panthers all over it. And for more on the Sean Payton signing, let's go down to Chris Devoda.
Well, Ron, just like Coach Bartz was saying, Drew Brees and Sean Payton, they're sort of a package deal. I mean, you just have to look at what Drew Brees said this week when he found out the coach was coming back. He said, "I'm very happy that it is official, but I really never had any doubts. In a season that has had so much disappointment and uncertainty, they finally have some direction for 2013.
That's right, Krista. Thank you very much. 2nd and 9. Boy, Brees holding the ball a long time, and another drop. Uncharacteristically, this year anyways, we've seen Colston drop a lot of balls.
Well, it's just a simple case. He knew he had some run after the catch there, and you could see his helmet turn as the ball got there, and he was just too anxious to run with it. I have not been standing. I've never stood next to him on the sideline. We were out at practice the other day, and I did. Well, they made receivers that big. I know Calvin. I remember Calvin Johnson's that big, but this is a big man we're talking about.
But 3 drops already today by the Saints. The in route, that one nearly intercepted. Josh Thomas had a beat on it.
Well, he sat on that. He felt the body language of the receiver leaning inside, and he read it beautifully. He saw it, and he jumped it, and he anticipated the throw real well. Those deep turn-ins, if you start to lean at all ahead of time, you can see those shuffles, see how patient he is. He flipped his hips and came right around, read it beautifully.
So the Saints will punt it. Morstead try to kill it inside the 5. He's going to need a backwards roll. He got it. You want to know why a guy goes to the Pro Bowl? That kind of punt right there. 36 yards, but he placed it perfectly. Still a 3-0 game winding down here in the first. We mentioned earlier Morstead going to the Pro Bowl. He's looking to break Andy Lee's single season net average record of 43.9. He comes into the game with a solid 44.
That directional punt is so hard to master, and he is as good as there is at it. By that, putting the ball over on the sideline away from the returner where they limit the returns, and he's an expert at it.
Carolina's last possession was a nice one. 15 plays, 76 yards. They got 3 out of it. Saints bring up an extra safety thinking about a run, and they get the run. Nice job there. Curtis Lofton wrapping up the tackle on Mike Tolbert. That's a pickup of 2.
And there's, the bad news about pressure like that when you're bringing the ranch is you're left one-on-one outside, and if you have enough time, those sometimes can go 94, and it's a risky deal defensively to do it, but you can create some plays like they just did. But boy, you're kind of hanging out there with that wide receiver on a quick throw with no help.
Saints defense trying to avoid finishing the season. Like this, and he's going to take a loss on the play. That's a sack by Broderick Bunkley.
And that pass play was just a short little curl, short hook and flat combination, flat to the back, and then receiver, and really, well, they're just not very confident about their front when they do that, and that's kind of the message that you have there. Did a good job of avoiding the rusher there, but you've got to beat him with a throw. That's basically was a hot throw to the back in the flat there. And Steve Spagnuolo, the defensive coordinator, is an outstanding coach, and I'm sure Sean Payton will address some of the things that they need on defense for Steve in the offseason.
A loss of 3 on the play. Play clock's going to get him. Nah, he knew it. Called timeout to avoid it. Panthers in trouble. This is a 3rd and 11. Man-to-man coverage with 1 in the hole. And he found the open man, but a flag is down. That's Steve Smith. But let's check the flag. Put a nice spin on the ball, though. And the Panthers say it's against the Saints.
Number 21 of the defense. That penalty is declined. The result of the play is a first down.
That's Patrick Robinson. Play good for 25 yards and a first.
Well, you take a look at the route. It's what we call a 7 route, which is a deep out. You can't impede his progress in the route. When he sets his course, you can't impede it. You've got to play off to the side, and he was right down the middle of him. It's a good call.
Boy, Robinson got beaten up last week against Dallas thanks to Des Bryant. Bryant with 2 touchdowns and just looked at times like Robinson couldn't find the ball in the air.
Well, and he did a very poor job last week of locating it and timing the throw. He had a couple of chances to make plays, and he didn't make them.
Williams inside. Williams will fight for the tough yards. He'll get about 4 before Bunkley makes the tackle.
And that kind of seems to be really the soft part of this defense is inside those tackles.
That's the end of the first quarter and the season finale. Panthers up 3-zip. Fox NFL Sunday will return after these messages and a word from your local Fox station. We start the second quarter here in New Orleans. The Panthers up 3-0 after a first quarter, first possession, 15-play drive. They got 3 out of it, but boy, it's interesting. You look at the quarterback comparison, and Cam Newton has been nice down the stretch here, Coach, but look at the intensity of Drew Brees. This is a team not going to the playoffs, neither team going, but he's got that look on his face like they're headed to the first round of the playoffs.
Well, right now he's frustrated because Carolina's doing exactly what you need to do. You got to keep Drew Brees on the sideline, and that long drive, you put another one together here, it's hard. You can't score, obviously, when you're on the bench like that.
2nd and 6. Going deep, it's tight coverage. Somehow, Smith separates, but it's knocked away. Step for step was Patrick Robinson.
You can't throw it any better than that. He drops this thing down on top of Steve Smith, and what Steve does a real good job of, he saves just a little bit right for the end. You watch him burst right there. He's getting away, and well, I don't know how you throw a better ball than that. He put it right over the outside shoulder on the 9, and boy, that's a tough one. And we've got 3 drops by the Panthers, 2 by Steve Smith so far in this game, and they're all big plays.
Robinson, the third-year man out of Florida State, first-round pick back in 2010, going man-to-man here with Steve Smith. Carolina 4 for 6 on 3rd down. Pressure, got it off, and he's got Smith. And Smith will run after the catch, pushed out of bounds at close to the 50-yard line. That's 17 big ones in a first.
Well, you start to get this man-to-man coverage. You have to do some of this, just apply pressure. When you do that, then these crossing routes come into play. And as soon as Coach Chudzinski saw this, then they go to these crossers. And now you can effectively use the whole field to run from the defenders.
We talked earlier about the Saints defense, 282 yards away from allowing the most total yardage in NFL single-season history. That would eclipse the 81 Baltimore Colts. 126 allowed thus far today. This one going downtown, looking for Murphy. Murphy saying, hey, where's the bump? As that one falls incomplete.
And not a catchable play probably, or a catchable ball. But this is what we're talking about, crosses. You can see the rub route coming off the defender there and the other receiver. These types of scissor routes or crossing routes are golden when you get man-to-man coverage. You can see the cushion that's created by the corner that's trying to cover him. And you got to get to that right away against teams that are trying to pressure you and play man-to-man coverage. And Coach Chudzinski does a really nice job of reacting and watching this game, what they're trying to accomplish, and making that adjustment.
Williams bounces it, and he's still going. D'Angelo Williams with a nice run. He's close to a first down. That's close to 9. Tom Johnson with the tackle.
And we saw D'Angelo Williams again go back to what he was in the past, where he turned that corner, dropped his shoulder, and was able to get through those arm tackles. And he'd started running a little bit like a smaller back and bouncing around and bouncing outside and doing those things. And what we've seen of him recently is he's back in form.
And this team is back in form. We talked about it in the open, but even though the score doesn't necessarily reflect it, they have held the ball, moved the ball, and kept Brees on the sideline. That's a first down right down the gut, Tolbert.
And Ron Rivera, you got to give him credit for his patience with Cam Newton and letting him fight through that 6-week period where he really struggled, and brought him back, believed in him, never wavered, brought his defense along, built the 8th best defense in the league right now, and they'll do nothing but continue to get better with rookie linebacker Luke Kuechly in the middle. And this is the finishing touches now with Cam and his development. This team is going to take off under his leadership. I believe that.
Started 1-6, finishing up 5-2, with a chance to make it 6-2. 8-man in the box is up. Newton calls his own number. Wisely took a knee. It didn't open up for him. He'll pick up 2.
And they really felt like this was that quarterback lead draw again that they popped on 3rd and short. He's playing these coverages. Coach Chudzinski's looking at what they're doing defensively in the secondary, and he's a little bit of a chess game going on out there, and trying to keep the ball away from that other group on the other side on offense, and yet make first down and get get some points. So he's very patient in his game plan right here and being very effective with it.
Williams flanked out, 2nd and 8. Pressure, got it off, and it's knocked away. Roman Harper all over Steve Smith.
Well, I think they've done their homework on the depth of these routes and are kind of sitting on these routes, so to speak. But we got a nice double team down inside, and it really does affect those edges. When you feel like you have to help a guard and center inside on 2 rushers, now those tackles are kind of hanging out there all by themselves and puts a lot of pressure on Gross and Bell on the outside. And, they're good enough to do that, but you're going to have some issues there on those long yardage types of situations.
And that's what pressure will do for you. We've got a flag down in the area of the backfield. Newton's slow to get up. Well, he was very vocal and then some last week about getting hit late.
Illegal use of the hands to the face, number 77 in the offense. That penalty is declined, 4th down.
That's the right tackle, Byron Bell. It'll bring up 4th.
And let's see if we can see it here on the right side. There he is right there. You can see the helmet come off.
Yep.
You can do this. I mean, you can get your hand on a defender's face mask, but you got to get it off right away. If you leave it there, it's going to get called.
Sproles is deep. Nortman will come on.
I think one of the important things of this drive is they start inside their own 5. They're going to punt here from their own 40 or from the 42 going in, but time of possession 13 to 5 minutes, and that's keeping the Saints off the field there offensively.
This will be another timeout for Carolina. They've got 1 left.
Second. This will be 30-second timeout.
Ron Pitts, Mike Martz, the season finale here in the Big Easy. And you talk about the formula for beating this Saints team. You got to keep Drew Brees off the field first and foremost.
No question. So you have to run a patient offense that you got to catch the ball. They've had 3 critical drops here. Otherwise, they may have more points than what they have. But, the time differential is incredibly important. And then the other part of that defensively is get up into his face and take advantage of his height, so to speak, as most teams try to do.
So they switch it up. They won't punt. Instead, they'll bring on Gano for a 54-yarder. He's got a season long of 51 and a career long of 59. You like this move, Coach?
I do. Yeah, I do. They're playing to win this thing. They're not conservative. They know they're going to have to score some points, and it's
no good. It had the distance, wasn't lined up right. So that'll be great field position for the Saints. Everybody's ready to dance into the new year. The season finale here on Fox. The Panthers in control of this one. The score not big, but they've been able to hold the ball and keep number 9 off the field. And Coach, you know what that's like. People did everything they could to keep the greatest show on turf off the field.
Well, sooner or later the dam does break. It's just a question of time. You can't completely shut him down.
Ivory is through, and he'll have 10 and a first. And these 2 teams won't be in this playoff picture, but it is a hot one. The Minnesota Vikings, on the heels of Adrian Peterson, have made a late season run, and they are sitting there in the prime spot along with the Seattle Seahawks in the wild card. But Seattle and San Francisco, a win will mean the division victory. Boy, another nice play there. That's Josh Thomas.
Well, they hit him with another draw to open up with, just to slow this pass rush down. And what happens when you're getting up the field vertically as pass rushers, you create run lanes for this for the runner.
Oh boy, that's how you beat a stalk block right there, taking down Sproles.
You just make a commitment and go. Once you commit and get out that blocker, the cavalry will come to the party.
Loss of 6. Four-man pressure. Breeze, here comes from the backside, and that's a sack. Charles Johnson, he'll go to 11.5 on the season.
But one of the things that happens is if you can get a push inside here, then it forces, you can't really step up. He's looking around, and you get caught on the edge. But the biggest factor of that is the receivers getting mugged on the outside. If you can be physical with these receivers and delay those routes, it forces them to hold the football. And really talking to Ron Rivera, they felt like if they could do that, disrupt the routes, that they'd have some success on the pass rush.
That explains the why he had to hold the ball. Great point. And then you go to your check down, and the check down is taken down well short of the first. That's only 3 yards, and they'll have to punt it. Dockery coming up.
But what the ends really, when he steps up, when Drew Brees is shallow in the pocket, which most of the time he's around 7 to 8 yards, when he's shallow like that, he can do anything he wants. If you can get any kind of push into his face and force him to deepen, as we saw trying to buy time, that's when those ends have great success.
Morstead will be able to put his leg into this one. Not a great one. Edwards had backed way up. He'll take the roll. Armani Edwards out of bounds at the 19-yard line. 43-yard punt, 9-yard return. Carolina back with the football when we come back. Carolina's last 2 drives, I mean, this is textbook except for one thing, and that's the score. 28 plays, 137 yards, using a chunk of time. You'd like to see 6, right, Coach, instead of 3s, but...
Well, you know, they got inside there and had a shot 3 times at it from about the 2-yard line, and well, that makes you angry as a coach. You feel like that should always be a touchdown.
Fake to Williams. They handle the pressure. He got it off, and it's complete. That's LaFell. Well, Friday, one of the best bowl games of the year on Fox. Heisman Trophy winner Johnny Manziel leads 9th-ranked Texas A&M against number 11 Oklahoma. The AT&T Cotton Bowl Classic is Friday at 7:30 p.m. Eastern, only on Fox. A pickup of 16 on that play.
And Curtis Lofton, OU grad,
Yep.
doing a terrific job here and having an unbelievable season here for the Saints. And like I said earlier, that linebacker group is really a strength of this team.
Yeah, he's not involved in that one because there goes D'Angelo Williams. And Williams is going to be close. Will he score? The official looking at it, checking to see if anybody went out of bounds. They mark him out of bounds at the 1-yard line. Roman Harper pushed him out of bounds, but it's a 65-yard run. And that is the longest run of the season for D'Angelo Williams.
You know what happens when you pressure the quarterback, when you get after him, a draw or a quick hitter is absolutely going to go the distance if you don't have all those gaps accounted for. And, you know, I'm not so sure that they weren't trying to bring a late pressure off that side, but they caught him in an angle. They wadded him up and ran back door on it. They came behind the blocks there, and he read this beautifully. Nice little cut up inside there for that big game.
Tolbert time. Tolbert with the bounce out, and Tolbert with the score.
And this is what I felt like they should have done the first series down there, Ron. This is that power play. This defense that they're giving them down in the goal line is down low in the gaps, and then that defense you want to block down and kick out and create that lane off the edge there and seal that whole defense off, and that's exactly what they did.
Tolbert with his 5th touchdown of the season, and this time, as we were talking about it, they don't stall a drive out inside the 5. They put it in the end zone, but you credit Williams. Williams breaking out with the big run.
It's so hard when you have to resort to pressure to get to the quarterback. You're living on the edge in that running game.
3 plays, 82 yards, and the Panthers doing what they've been doing the last 3 games, playing very well on offense, hustling on defense, putting points on the board. Carolina up 10-zip here in the second quarter. 3 plays, 82 yards, big run by D'Angelo Williams set it all up.
And boy, I tell you what, now you've got an issue trying to contain him, and then Cam Newton out on the perimeter, you know, buying time and throwing the ball to these receivers. I don't know how you pressure this team now, because you can't get there with Cam breaking it to the outside. You just got to hang in there and tighten up defensively and do the best you can.
Cadet hit hard at the 20, still churning out to the 24-yard line. Breeze down 10-0. He'll have to get it going. 8-12 here in the second quarter. Breeze 3 of 9, 48 yards. The reason why he's been on the bench an awful lot.
And this is this is how the Carolina Panthers ended up the game earlier in the season. They just kind of picked up where they left off, where they've kept the Saints off the field and had these long scoring drives and didn't turn the ball over.
5-9, yellow ready. Yellow waiting, ready. 90, let's up.
Downhill, that's Ingram. Ingram with a nice run. He'll get at least 15. Still going. Call it 16.
Drew Brees, in our meeting with him, said that this is the thing that's really helped them at the end of the year is the emergence of Mark Ingram and taking the pressure off of him in the running game. This offensive line is really outstanding, both as protection and running football.
Ingram falling forward for 17 yards. They'll go back to it. That's good for 4.
It's just a completely different dynamic now when you have to account for that runner as well as the quarterback, as opposed to just rushing that passer.
The Panthers won the last matchup. That was week 2 in Carolina, 35-27. 3 Panthers went over 50 yards rushing in that affair. And Carolina had talked during the season about still being bitter about last year's season finale game here, where the Saints beat up on them, left the starters in, went for records. That still leaves a sour taste in the mouth. This is a hot one in the middle, and that's complete. Lance more and more inside the Panther 20-yard line. Ball is out, but he's well out of bounds. A Giants update. Let's go back out to Los Angeles and check in with Kurt Menefee.
Well, the Giants have had the ball 4 times in offense, and they've scored touchdowns all 4 times. Ahmad Bradshaw, 1-yard run. They lead it 28-7 right now in the second quarter. Ron, Mike, and Piston.
All right, Kurt, thank you. Giants need to win and get a lot of help to get in. That's a 39-yard reception there by Moore. First trip inside the red zone today for the Saints. Quick pump. It's well covered. Even with Jimmy Graham at almost 6'8", he still can't get to it, covered by DJ Campbell.
Now let's take a look at this long reception here. He does a real good job of fooling the DB that he's going across the field on another crosser, gets him to peek, and then turns and comes right back out of it. Josh Thomas couldn't help himself there and peeked back at the quarterback. And when you run the football, you can show that ball in that action like Drew did and come up with those big plays.
Something he's done so well in the past, Breeze, that is, spreading the ball around. Second down, dump down to this guy. Boy, you just look at the trail of bodies that are on the ground after Sproles catches a ball. He picks up 5 there. A hard man to tackle.
Well, Josh Thomas is really working these receivers over as best he can. He's trying to be as physical as he can. Take a real good look here. He's got his hands on his chest, pushing him around, shoving him around. And, this is what Ron Rivera said they need to do to disrupt these receivers to get Drew to hold that ball so they can get to him.
Thomas, second-year man out of Buffalo, picked up on waivers last season from Dallas. Showing some physical play. Third down, Breeze out of the pocket. Checks it down. A nice tackle there, boy. That prevented the first down. Davis, he holds the gain to 3. And decision time.
Joe's telling him to go for it. And I think in this situation, the circumstances around it, there's no question. I think you go for it here. They're not in the playoffs. You play this thing, pedal to the metal and let them play and put it on their shoulders to get the job done here. I think it's a good call.
Saints 6 of 12 on the season in 4th down. Quick throw. There it is. Touchdown. Did he hold on to it? Yes, he did. Colston counting. That's his 9th of the season.
Well, they came down the sideline and looked at Joe Vitt for a decision. Hey, coach, what are we going to do? He didn't hesitate. You saw him stick his arm out there at the quarterback and said, yeah, call it, run it. We're going for this thing. There was no hesitation there.
And Breeze, the second quarterback in the NFL with 40 or more touchdown passes hanging up there with some pretty good company now. Dan Marino.
Well, he's established himself not just as an elite player this year or this 10 years, but probably to play this position with his numbers.
I agree. Extra point, clean. Now we've got a 3-point game. 7 plays, 76 yards.
They were talking to each other here on defense here. As you look at the linebackers, there's some communication issues here. They're trying to come over here. You can see guys running around and, hey, you got him, you take him, I got him. And that's what some of the movement and the formation does to you in the red zone. You get their eyes off of their keys and looking around, and all of a sudden you've created separation. And down there, it just takes a yard or two and you got it. And I got to tell you, I love the formation. Moving guys around, getting them to what we call ik-ak-a-nook and talking to them, and they're always a step late trying to get to their spot. The ball gets snapped and they're running from behind.
So at 5:14 here in the first half, the Saints finally put something together, get inside the red zone for the first time today, and put up 7.
Well, and that happens with these guys. They lull you to sleep. They're not on the field. Oh, no, what's wrong with the Saints? And within 3 or 4 plays, they're in the end zone. That's what's so scary about this group offensively. They can strike at any time, anywhere on the football field, and they do it very quickly.
Armin Smith back deep for the Panthers. Hartley got all of that one. Boy, what a 2012 it has been for the Saints. They started off with Bountygate. Sean Payton, Joe Vitt suspended. Jonathan Vilma and Will Smith fighting their suspensions. They've had 2 interim head coaches, Aaron Cromer and Joe Vitt. And on the field, it's been a roller coaster ride. They lost their first 4 games, then won 5 of 6. But then go on to lose 3 in a row before finally winning the last 2 coming down the stretch. You look at owner Tom Benson, who just acquired the Hornets across the street there.
Mickey Loomis behind the general manager. Those 3 losses that they had towards the end, though, you look at it, San Francisco, Atlanta, and the Giants. That's pretty good company.
That's Williams. Williams for 4. Bunkley on the tackle.
And there's Mickey Loomis there, back behind Mr. Benson.
General manager, right?
Yes. There's a theme here offensively in the running game for the Panthers that they've opened up with. They've kept that ball now over the guard and center area and just attacking those 2 tackles for the Saints. And they've done it very successfully. Obviously, the long run is exactly where it went.
Second and 6. A throwback, and it's picked off. This will be a score. Jonathan Vilma. Boy, and we just talked about the troubles this year for the Saints. And Vilma right in the heart of those troubles, but activated October 20th. On the reserve suspended PUP list. That gets all cleared up. The suspensions revoked. And he comes up with a huge play here and puts 6 on the board for the Saints.
Well, they're playing man-to-man there, and screens are generally very good against man-to-man. The problem is D'Angelo settled there, and the extra point's good. D'Angelo settled there, so he kept coming. Cam felt like he was going to stay on the move, and you've got a blocker for that guy. Take a look at this on replay. You've got a blocker coming out for whoever has him in coverage, and there he is right there, but you got to give him a chance to get there. And Vilma made himself available outside the blocker, and that's why he snubbed it back inside, and Cam didn't feel that. And on running, good screen runners, they see that. They feel the pressure outside, and they turn inside, but you and the quarterback have got to be on the same page. And when you pump to one side and pivot and throw a screen to the other side, there's no way Cam could see that. Had it been a regular screen, I think he'd have felt that. Saw Vilma and probably not throwing it or throwing his feet, but they did a pump screen to one side and pivot around, and he had to throw that blind, just the nature of the play. So Vilma really played that very well. He saw that coming and broke on it, and of course made a terrific play. Not on the same page there between Cam and D'Angelo Williams on the screen. And rightfully so. He had no chance of seeing that.
And for Vilma, that's his second career pick six. His last pick six was back in 2004. And for Carolina, we had talked earlier about staying away from the turnovers. They hadn't had a turnover in 6 of the last 8 games.
Well, I don't know what you do about that. That's, you know, they caught man coverage and they had a pump screen on come back out. There's no way Cam could have seen that because he was pumping the ball to the other side.
Smith, boy, with a nice run. He's out past the 25-yard line. Well, our Fox NFL Sunday doubleheader continues next with America's Game of the Week. 3 games with huge playoff implications. Adrian Peterson tries to run the Vikings right into the playoffs as they host the Packers. Others will see the Cardinals and 49ers. And then the Rams and Seahawks. Coverage of America's Games of the Week begin right after our games. And you look there in the NFC North. Green Bay's already clinched the number 2 seed and the NFC North division title. But the Vikings trying to hold on to their spot and clinch a playoff spot. There's a flip outside to Williams, where Williams is just tearing it up.
Now they're trying to take advantage of this man-to-man coverage and let him squeeze and flip that ball outside, and they just lock up the defenders underneath and split the defenders. It's kind of a what we used to call 90 flip from the basically a shotgun formation. That's the first time I've seen that. D'Angelo Williams now over 100 yards already for the day. He's having a banner year, or a banner game here.
Boy, and only 7 carries. That's about a 15-yard per carry average right now for Williams. That's his first 100-yard game in the last 26 games. LaFell coming around the outside. He'll be about 4 or 5 yards shy of the first. Let's go down to Chris Devoda.
Ron, something to remember how young this Panthers offensive line is. They've essentially been put together with Band-Aids the last couple of weeks. After the earlier scoring series, yes, D'Angelo Williams was getting a lot of accolades, but Coach Rivera, Cam Newton, they were high-fiving the offensive line, reminding them to play like veterans.
Well, that's exactly right, Kristen. A lot of changes up front down to their 3rd center and changes at the 2 starting guard positions.
And Austin Williams at guards, and they're handling this front for New Orleans very well, though, obviously pushing them around here a little bit.
Quick slant. Lewis Murphy, and Murphy down to the 30-yard line. Coverage by Johnny Patrick.
Well, a good change, a real good call by Chedinsky. You know, they've thrown the ball down the field a little bit with some of the play action. They've hurt him inside the running game. They've got those receivers isolated outside now one-on-one, and you got to take advantage of that matchup, much the same that the Cowboys did last week. They catch him in this one-on-one stuff, whether it's man-to-man or the blitz zones where they pop out there. Those corners are still one-on-one with the wide receiver, and these guys are certainly good enough to have some success out there doing that.
17 yards on that play. Pulls it out. Quarterback keep. They'll fall just shy of the 25-yard line.
And that's just another factor when you have to prepare for these guys, the Panthers. Defensively, you have to stop the option to give to D'Angelo or the lead, the fake, and the quarterback keep, whether it's inside or outside.
Lofton on the tackle. That's a 2-minute warning. Saints with 2 quick scores. Can Carolina answer? We'll find out. Panthers threatening to score here. We're under the 2-minute warning just like that. The Saints, thanks to that man, Jonathan Vilma, took the lead here. He had a pick 6 down by the red zone.
And the matchup they like here is Greg Olsen, as we saw earlier in the red zone. Had a real nice play to the outside.
2nd and 7 throw, and it was caught. It was high, but Olsen able to pull it down.
Olsen read the safety and bent his route underneath him, and Cam just put a vapor shot right on his face mask. The only thing he could do.
And on that last play, the Saints now giving up the most yardage in an NFL season. And that one intended for Murphy, and it's incomplete.
But I think the important thing here is, I think it's very well stated. The Saints defense is maybe it's overstated, over 6,000 yards here.
Yeah.
Now the worst officially, but I think what's really important is that they do like they did last week here and come up with some plays to give this team a chance to win or win it at the end. You know, the overtime game and last week against the Cowboys where they made some plays when they had to get the offense on the field to win the game.
They eclipsed the 81 Baltimore Colts in total yardage allowed in a single season. Quarterback keep. Newton dancing, got about 2 out of it.
And he hasn't gotten a whole lot out of that, and that's not important. What's important is you just show that a couple of times, and it just keeps those backers from flying out of there and those receivers.
Cedric Ellis.
And some of these snaps now, when you're a little new in there, especially in the red zone, that ball has a tendency to float right, left, down the knees, the toes, the ears, everywhere. That's a very difficult thing to do, to go in and snap to the gun if you haven't done a lot of it.
Carolina looks like they're going to wait on this. 3rd and 8, clock running. They've got 1 timeout. They're going to try to bleed as much of the clock as they can and then burn their final timeout. Let's see what Kurt Menefee has on tap for us at the half out in Los Angeles. Kurt.
Coming up on the Visa Halftime Show, we'll get you all caught up on the action and how it affects the playoff picture. Are the teams that need to win winning? Will the teams that need help get that help? We'll try and put the playoff picture into focus on the Visa Halftime.
Kurt, you know what they say here at Fox, the more you can do.
I was kind of jealous of that tie. Did you see his tie?
I wasn't jealous of it. 8th play of the drive coming up. You know we love you, Kurt. 3rd and 8. Saints showing A-gap pressure. Pump. That one nearly intercepted. Intended for LaFell, and LaFell is saying, hey, where's my flag? Elbert Mack stepping in for the injured Jabari Greer.
When you say A-gap, here comes a backer, and he's matched up on the back there, so you're bringing both, and one's going to peel out on the back, the other's trying to hit that inside pressure, and effectively what they're doing is obvious. They're trying to attack those inside 3 pass blockers and create confusion, and you know, really just the straightaway blitzes aren't so as effective, but when you twist and move them around like they did there and bring them around somebody else, that's harder for them to pass off.
Gano 31 yards out. He missed from 54, but he'll put this one through, and we've got a 1-point game. Let's take a look back. Carolina holding the ball and bleeding the clock on the Saints early. But Colston coming back as the Saints get down the field, finally in the red zone. Late here in the second quarter for the first time today, they find Colston from Breeze. The throwback intercepted. Vilma, Coach, you diagrammed that very well. And Vilma getting his first interception since 2004.
Well, that pick 6 is devastating to an offense. In essence, you're kind of looking at a 14-point swing potential or 10-point because you know you obviously give up the 7 points there, but you don't know what's going to happen in the rest of that drive, so you lose that possession, a chance to score. So those are hard to overcome psychologically, and they bounced right back offensively, went down and got 3 points, and that's a toughness, I think, and attention to detail that Ron Rivera brings this football team.
Actually, the first interception for a touchdown by Vilma since that time. 1-point game, 39 seconds left. The Saints with all 3. Sproles back deep. Boy, he can make a lot happen. Don't blink. They round him up at about the 18-yard line. Let's take a look at the playoff picture in the AFC. Everything pretty much settled except for some seedings. Indianapolis, boy, Andrew Luck, what a year, along with Cincinnati. I guess this is an argument that young quarterbacks can come in here and make an impact right away.
Well, their preparation, if they prepare properly and they've had the experience throwing a lot of passes in college, I think the transition is a lot easier, and I think that's the situation here with Andrew Luck.
Houston down to Indianapolis 14-6. There's a hot one that's caught by Moore. And a timeout called by the Saints. Don't forget the Visa halftime report coming your way. Kurt, Terry, Howie, Michael, Jimmy will have all the stuff around the NFL.
This would be my argument against the prevent defense in these 2-minute drills, is that you kind of play what brung you. You know what I mean? They've had success here, and to loosen up a little bit and let them move the ball, same kind of pressure, stay snug in coverage, and keep him out of that 3-point range here, and he can put this in the end zone obviously at any time. So dangerous.
Pump. And he found his man. Graham took exception to Davis there.
Well, that's what you call the bender against that 2-deep zone cover 2, where the slot receiver pushes at the safety, climbs right on top of him. You're going to see him come right at the safety, and then he's going to do that right at the last second. Get a little move there. Yeah. And that window is so tight. The confidence to make that throw and that receiver is going to be there is critical, obviously. And they just connected so well so often against that coverage on that play.
Kuechly with the hit. Timeout called in the process. The Saints have one left. 23 seconds. Looking for Graham again, and Kuechly all over it. Boy, those are the kind of plays it's really made people say, why wasn't this kid at least given a first, second alternate in the Pro Bowl?
Well, and he's been in the middle now just a very short time. That's where he was, like you said, at BC. So he's playing. He's just so confident in using the speed that he has. And then on the flip side of this, Drew Brees, this is why he's so good in 2 minutes, is he knows what he's getting coverage-wise. There's no move around, fooling around. You're getting 1 or 2 coverages, and when he knows what he's going to get, that's when he really tears you apart.
2nd and 10 screen to Sproles. He got a block, and that's all Sproles needs. That's a first down. They've got 1 timeout left after a pickup of 14, and Brees burns the final timeout. So we'll think about Garrett Hartley right now. 53 yards is his career long. And of course, last week, he had the big 20-yard overtime field goal to win it against Dallas. His first OT game winner since the NFC Championship game right here in this stadium against the Vikings back in 2010. That put the team to the Super Bowl, into the Super Bowl game, and of course, the Super Bowl championship.
It's amazing how one kick or just one play like that can turn a whole season around, as we saw it go just the other way with the Vikings years ago, I believe, missing a field goal that would have put them into the Super Bowl.
This is 53. Oh, look at that thing turn. Wow, he put some voodoo on that ball. Plenty of leg. Put a little English on it. I guess in this case, a little French. And the Saints go in with a 4-point lead. Visa halftime report coming your way right after this. We've got a 4-point game here in the Big Easy. It started off with very little going on in the first quarter, only 3 points in the first quarter. Second quarter on, we've had a 27-point outburst.
Well, and with the Drew Brees and the Saints, that dam can burst anytime. And, when you look at 280 yards in 1 half by Carolina, 150 yards rushing, they've got to slow the bleeding down. Fortunately, they've been able to keep the points low with that kind of output yardage-wise and keep Drew Brees off the field. But it'll be interesting to see what the defensive adjustments are on both sides of the ball here for the second half.
Hartley just before half hit a 53-yarder. That was tying a career long for him. And they put us at 17-13 Saints.
We are our own biggest enemy. Meanwhile, on the Saints side of the ball, Coach Vitt says it's simple. We have to run the ball better and convert on 3rd down.
Yeah, and of course, Krista, you know that Coach Rivera is talking about the pick 6 there for Vilma. deep in your own territory, that's always a killer.
Ready for shot.
Ingram with the quick call, and he's taken down in the backfield. Nice play by Jason Phillips.
And what had given Carolina such a headache here in the second quarter was the ability to run up inside and then play fake and hit a couple deep throws down in that outside the number area there, effectively pushing the ball 30 yards down the field and getting some big chunks. So if they can eliminate this running game like Coach Vitch would like to get going here, with Joe Vitt, the head coach here, it's just not going to happen with the play action. I think that's what they're trying to get done.
Quick throw outside. That's Sproles. Sproles not able to get much. Sione Fua holds it to 1. And Anthony Davis, the first overall pick by the Hornets. Hey, everybody. He's giving a little love to the guys down there.
You'd like to throw him that jump ball in the end zone, wouldn't you? He'd probably be a pretty good tight end.
Won the national title there for Kentucky. And as I mentioned earlier, owner Tom Benson now owns the Hornets. So he's got a vested interest in that young man for sure. Pump fake, let's go deep. Tough fit. There's contact and it's caught. He wasn't contacted. That's still a live play. Lance Moore ran into the defender, DJ Campbell, but makes a crazy catch. Boy, that reminds you of a Lynn Swann catch in the Super Bowl. 50 yards on the play.
Well, they were both playing the ball. That's why it's not a penalty. He just got to get up and make this play now. But Moore, what great concentration on the football, huh? Sees it all the way into his hands and has a wherewithal to get up and understand he hasn't been touched and run with it.
This will boost your average.
Yes, it will.
3 catches, 103 yards now for Lance Moore.
Ready. 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 Let's shot.
Call to Ingram. Ingram going nowhere. Phillips again.
And what Joe Vitt talked about, having to run the ball here, even if you're not very successful with it, it at least is going to slow down that pass rush so that you can hold the ball like we just saw Drew Brees do and let guys get down the field. And of course, they make so much money off this deep passing game, these turn-ins and go routes and seam routes and all those kinds of things.
No gain officially on that last play. Play action. Check down. Ooh, and a hard hit. That's Jed Collins, and Collins is hit by Kuechly.
And he was hit. A real good job here by our guys in the truck with the sound.
Yep.
You can hear that all the way up here. Bang, bang. Here's a rat-tat. That's what you like to hear with your linebackers. They front them up, stop them cold in their tracks. And this Carolina defense is a very sound, fundamental defense. They tackle very well and play leverage with all 11 guys are where they're supposed to be all the time.
3rd and 5. Plenty of time. Look back the other way. Then he found his man, Graham. Graham has a first.
With this coverage, this 2-deep zone, these hook defenders are on the quarterback's eyes. And he will move these guys right there and right there. He sees him, he moves, he wants to move in that direction. He bails on that pump move, and Drew's made a living off of this. You know, he can affect the defense so well with his eyes, and of course, if you're blocking him that well, you can do that.
Switch it up. That's Ivory. Chris Ivory going sideways. Nah, it's not going to work. Munnerlyn coming up from the corner spot. They hold it to 2.
And it's kind of hard when you watch Drew Brees play like we've seen here in the last 2 quarters, especially the deep balls, the moving the defense, just the command and everything, and the success that he's had, how he's not in the Pro Bowl, it's hard to imagine.
Brees 7 passing yards from another 5,000. This could be it. It is. And a touchdown to boot. Graham. That's Graham's team leading in 9th of the year.
Well, it goes back to pay off the runs that they were talking about. You run the ball up inside, even though you're not having a great deal of success, slows the pass rush down. Now when you show the ball to the back, the linebackers freeze just long enough to get the ball in behind them.
And for Breeze, over 5,000 yards passing 3 straight seasons. He joined some pretty good company. Guys like Dan Marino, Tom Brady. And yeah, go ahead and put Matthew Stafford in there, but the Saints starting to pour it on 24-13. So Drew Brees, the first NFL quarterback with 3 straight 5,000 yard seasons.
You got to use one of those dry erase boards or some sort of chalkboard when you talk about Drew Brees and these touchdowns. You're going to have to change it every quarter.
41 touchdowns. The Saints with 24 points in the last 13 minutes of play. That ball through the end zone and a touchback. The number 3 offense in the NFL. They've got the weapons that hurt you anywhere. All right, now it's time for the Saints defense. We talked about their issues this year. They've set a record for giving up the most amount of yards by a defense in NFL history. They've got points at their back now. And that's what happens when you get points at your back. That's a loss. David Hawthorne coming through. Let's go back to the touchdown.
Take a look here, Ron, at this touchdown. Luke Kuechly in the middle is going to get sucked up by the play fake right there. And that's going to free right here in that big seam underneath the safety. And that's tough duty. Luke Kuechly right here, you see his eyes come up right there on Sproles. And that hole that he was supposed to be in is where Jimmy Graham was and caught the touchdown.
Quick throw. Whoa, what a catch by Olsen. He lost the ball. A flag is thrown, and they call it down by contact.
It may have been a horse collar. I'm not sure. It looked like he had a hold of that pad.
Well, what a catch by Olsen. Couldn't tell if he stepped out there. And the questionable horse collar there. Well, I don't know that that was a horse collar by Harper, but doesn't look like Harper ever got his hand back there. Maybe he did late. Al Riveron's crew discussing it.
I think to see if anybody else had a view of this, and they'll confer between officials, see if anybody else saw it better, you know, with a different angle.
So the play was ruled a catch by Olsen. It looked as though he fumbled the ball, but you heard the whistle blow, and it was ruled down by contact. Here's Al Riveron.
There is no foul on the play. The result of the play is the player is down by contact. It will be third down.
And that's exactly what we thought we saw. Didn't look like he got the hand back in the back of the jersey, but the red challenge flag goes out by Vitt.
New Orleans is challenging the ruling on the field that the player was down prior to the ball coming loose.
All right, so we've got our first challenge of the day. The Saints will challenge whether or not it is a fumble. Remember, the call on the field is down by contact, no fumble.
Well, and again, you could see that the knee did not look to me like it was on the ground when that ball came out. And years ago, until the rule change, when it's blown dead, you couldn't challenge it. It was it, you know. But now you can challenge it whether the possession has changed.
Right now, let's go to Los Angeles and bring in our rules expert, Mike Pereira. Mike, you saw that play. It was blown dead, down by contact. the challenge flag as to whether or not it was a fumble. Give us your thoughts.
Well, a couple of things. First of all, it is a fumble. If, in fact, it's a catch, and I think they'll look at that and say that it is, but then the other part, is there a clear recovery by the defense in that the continuing action after the play, which there is. And what you're going to see here, you've got catch 2 feet down, now turning up field, which is really considered that second act element. So I think they will probably stay with that. And then you'll get the recovery by New Orleans, you know, in the immediate action. And so, you know, you look at this and say, as long as they stay with the ruling of a catch, then they'll reverse it and not have it be down by contact and have it a fumble with a clear recovery by New Orleans.
Well, a lot of good information there from Mike Pereira. There are 3 points there that he addressed very well.
Yeah, so first and foremost, Mike illustrates that it is a catch. Ball out before the knee touches, any knee touches, and then the ball recovered by New Orleans. Johnny Patrick was the one who came up with the ball.
Was it a catch? Was he down? And did they recover it in bounds?
Mike Pereira, thank you very much.
Thank you, Mike.
You got it. It's one of those plays where you have different elements, although just the ruling of down by contact was what was challenged. They still will also go back and look at this process of a catch. But, you know, I think they'll focus more on that, as a matter of fact. Remember, a catch has 3 elements to it. Control, 1, then 2 feet clearly down, 2. And once you get 1 and 2 done, then you have to perform an act common to the game, which they do describe as turning up field. And I think that's that element that you have there. Although I will say it's rather tight, but I think, remember, they ruled a catch fumble.
All right, Mike, thank you. And here comes Al Riveron with a verdict.
The ruling on the field was that Carolina was down prior to the ball coming loose. This challenge involves a 2-step process. Process number 1 is that the ball was loose, which it was. The step number 2 is that the defense must have a clear recovery, which we could not prove in replay. Therefore, New Orleans loses the challenge. Carolina will keep the ball, and New Orleans will be charged with a timeout.
Whoa, so as Mike Pereira stated, a couple different elements. And Mike, let's bring you back in now. They agreed with the first part of that, but the second part, the recovery by the defense, they saw another way.
Well, remember, they did not. We showed them a lot of shots, and what they didn't see, what they didn't look at, was the shot where New Orleans clearly picked up the ball before it went out of bounds. So that mistake, to me, is on the replay assistant who didn't give Riveron the clear shot. And they got to do a better job than that, because we did have the shot that showed the New Orleans player picked the ball up before he was out of bounds. And they're not going to like the results of this review when the league actually reviews this entire play, because there you get a clear recovery there.
You're absolutely right, Mike. Mike Pereira, our NFL rules expert, thank you very much. Carolina retains possession, 3rd down and 7. Pressure for Newton, another flag down, and Newton will pick up the 1st down, but let's check this flag. The Saints say it's Carolina's penalty.
Jeff Byers, the center. Take a look at the recovery here. He makes the catch. Ball comes out before the knee comes down, and then I guess what's in question here is his second step right there. Could he see whether it was in or not? Maybe the angle that he was given, he couldn't tell, and therefore the decision, but clearly it looked like he had both feet in there.
That was Johnny Patrick with the supposed recovery. Taken away. This is a 3rd and long. Going deep, and he's got a man. That's Murphy, and Murphy's got it. Yes, that is a catch. And the Panthers get out of big trouble. That's 34 yards on the pass play.
When you have those 3rd and 15 and 20-yard type of situations, if you don't disrupt that receiver outside, he can get up on the safety that he's trying to pass him off to. As you can see right there, that's not what we call enough of a reroute. That safety can't get over there fast enough to make that play. And that's offensively what we talk about verticals. We're sending everybody down the field in a straight line and putting the pressure on that safety, and it was very well executed.
Yep, people will blame Patrick, but that was a cover 2 situation. He's got to buy time for the safety to get over there. It's a zone type of coverage. Boyd Williams has been hot today, and there he goes. This one could go house. It will. No flags counted. 54 yards.
Well, they've had issues inside in the defensive front. The 2 tackles have, they've had a rotation going on here, and they really are on top of each other here, and that's never good there when you have those defensive linemen in the hip pocket of each other, and it creates seams further over. And then the linebackers try to compensate, and then they get out of position, and it's a cause and effect thing.
9 carries, 160 yards rushing for D'Angelo Williams. He's picking up the slack today. Jonathan Stewart out. He's been hobbled all year long. A lot of the carries, as you brought up, coaches, the extra point is good, taken away by Cam Newton, but Williams getting his carries back today, and he's making the most of it. We've got a 4-point game here in New Orleans. And thanks to that man, the Saints' 24-3 run has ended in really the best day of the season for Williams rushing wise.
160 yards, and shoot, we're just getting going here in the second half. You got another 2 quarters really of football to play. This is something that was missing earlier in the season, and now they've sort of put the saddle on his back, so to speak, and they're riding him pretty good. He's doing a great job.
Sproles back deep. He'll take it 2 yards out. Oh, Sproles hit hard. You don't see that very often. Open field tackle. Very nice by Armin Smith. And right now we head out to Los Angeles to bring in our insider, Jay Glazer, who has got a little more info regarding the Sean Payton contract extension signing. Jay.
Well, guys, how you doing, gang?
Good, good. Jay, what's happening? What can you give us on this the Sean Payton contract? We know that Friday it was announced that in principle Sean and the team agreed to a 5-year deal. Not sure 100% of the money, but can you tell us any more about that deal?
No, it's certainly for the highest paid head coach in the NFL, but the big thing there, Sean has always told me, he had always planned, always wanted to go back to the Saints because of his relationship with Mickey Loomis, with the Benson family. Also, he said, look, from what I've done there with Drew Brees, with Mickey, with Mr. Benson, with the city of New Orleans, I always wanted to continue that. He always wanted to go back to New Orleans. People always linked him with Dallas, and they said, well, last week when I said Jason Garrett, he wasn't going anywhere, that took away that option. That really wasn't an option. He had always wanted to go back to the Saints.
And Jay, how long was this process? Do you have any idea? Did you get a feel for that, how long it took to get done?
Yeah, once Mickey Loomis came back from his suspension, that was really his top priority. He wanted to make sure he tried to get this thing done. Obviously, they had some time in order to get it done, but they wanted to make sure they cleaned up language in this so it can get okayed by the league and they get it done the right way. Mickey had always wanted to make sure they got this done. Sean wanted to always go back there as well.
Yeah, everybody's happy with this one. I think the league, I think having him back here as a head coach is vital to this league and to the city of New Orleans and, of course, the organization.
Now, Jay, this thing all kind of started in the sense that his original contract, the 2011 contract, was not approved by the league. Does this contract have to be okayed as well?
Yes, it does have to be okay, but what they did, like I said, is they went in to make sure that they cleaned up a lot of that language to make sure it does get okayed by the NFL. The big sticking point in the last deal is because of Sean's relationship with Mickey Loomis, the sticking point was if Mickey wasn't there, Sean could opt out. The league said, no, you can't do that. But again, that just goes to show you how close Sean and Mickey really are, that he wanted that in his contract.
Wow, that's outstanding.
Jay Glazer,
thank you, Jay.
Our insider. Jay, thank you very much
for
that info, man. Appreciate
it. Thank
you. 24-20, Saints not able to do anything with the ball. They'll turn it over with the punt. And Edwards will take the fair catch at the 35-yard line. 48 yards on the punt. Cam Newton coming back. 4-point game. A look at Saints general manager Mickey Loomis, mentioned there briefly by Jay Glazer, involving the whole contract situation. And as we said at the top of the game, so many happy people here in New Orleans just at the news that in principle an agreement has been made between Peyton and the team to have him back as head coach. Williams lining up a career day. 186 yards is his career high in a game. He is churning toward that number, picking up 2 there. He's got 160 on the day. Hey, pick up your phone, call ** NFL to download NFL Mobile for only $5 all month long. I like that price. NFL Mobile. Check it out.
Well, they're going to work on these guys and being very patient again with the running game, testing out that defensive front, making a play. You come up with play actions here and take the chill off that pass rush, and that ball go down the field again.
Fake the run left play and throwing it up. Tight coverage. Man to man. Not going to cut it. Patrick Robinson all over Steve Smith.
You take a look here at Drew Brees. You give him a Polaroid and give him something to look at, and he knows just what he wants. He missed. He made a mistake here and passed up an opportunity. He's upset with himself. But you talk about a guy now that is intense and focused and expects perfection every time he touches the football. You know, those guys that feel that way and pay attention to the details on a snap after snap basis, and with that talent, they're going to be successful at the highest level.
This is a 3rd and 8. Timeout call.
You take a look here. This is caused a timeout. A little indecision here. All right, we got guard talking. We got guard talking here. The center's looking left. He looks right. And Jeff Byers, you know, he's got 2 guys talking to him, and the quarterback's clapping. And that's, you know, when you have been in that situation, starting at center, just got to give him a little patience. He's got a difficult job, and for my money, all 3 of those guys inside have done an outstanding job so far.
Byers, the 3rd string center. They lost Handgartner and Khalil earlier in the year. 3rd down, pressure backside. He felt it. Newton out of the pocket, still rolling. I think he got the 1st down. What an effort. Let's see where they mark it. I believe he got it as he's slow to get up, but boy, and they got a scuffle going on up top. Oh boy. And Steve Smith, of course, involved in it. Steve Smith and Albert Mack mixed it up. And Cam Newton has walked off the field. He was slow to get up.
You can see
they make the switch. That's right. In comes Derek Anderson as you look at the scuffle there between Mack and Smith. And there's Newton on the sidelines in clear pain. So this is the first real playing time of the season for the 8th-year man out of Oregon State, Derek Anderson. And then a penalty marker.
Ball start, number 84, offense. 5-yard penalty, 1st down.
What happens, you get a quarterback that comes in off the bench like that and has a different cadence, and this is not unusual for this to happen. Everybody's just used to a different rhythm and count. Take a look at Cam here. That ball's out there. Boy, I don't like that, but you can see the legs here right on that ankle. He twisted and kind of pulled on it. It looked like he's kind of rolled that ankle. Thank goodness his foot didn't stay in the ground, but you can see it turn right there.
Yeah, well, he's back in the game. So after the penalty, they've got a 1st and 15. The give. Williams got about 4 before he started going backwards. Will Smith led the charge. Coach, you look at how much after 5 yards in that pickup that Cam Newton runs, and he does a very good job of it. He can change the complexion of an offensive game, but how long can a quarterback run and get away with it?
Well, with his size and strength, he's so unusual. I think he just kind of is a different guy all the way around. And with all the pressure, you can see the pressures on the graphic there that he's had. Because of the situation in the offensive line, he has to get out and take those kind of chances or that risk. You don't like him to all the time, but it's the only way you're going to win right now.
Second and long. He's got a corner, and LaFell. It's going to be a fight for the ball. Incomplete. Abdul Kudus
just underthrew him just a little bit ahead. He kept that ball towards the sideline. I think he had a heck of a play here. Good protection. Real tight formations, a double deep out. If he kept that ball more towards the sideline, I think he'd have completed it just a little bit off with the throw. If he didn't stop him up, kept it out in front, I think we're looking at him being down somewhere near the 20-yard line.
Third and 10. Pressure. The old wheel out. The flag goes down, and it's incomplete in the area of holding, and they might get Byron Bell for it. Working on Junior Gillette.
Holding number 77, offense. A penalty is declined. Fourth down.
There just isn't any worse feeling for an offensive lineman right now to be coming off the field and hear that holding. They run some games. I'm trying to work the inside, and anytime you go to the ground, he has hands on his back kind of push, and they're going to call that. Whether it was holding or not, you can't really tell. Defender goes to the ground with the offensive lineman. They always have a tendency to call that holding, whether that's supposed to be or not. It just kind of works that way.
So this is Brad Nortman. Nortman has killed 20 inside the 20. This one will bounce, take another bounce, and go into the end zone for a touchback. Well, Friday, one of the best bowl games of the year on tap for Fox. The Heisman Trophy winner, Johnny Manziel, leading his 9th-ranked Texas A&M Aggies against the 11th-ranked Oklahoma Sooners. The AT&T Cotton Bowl Classic Friday, 7:30 p.m. Eastern, right here on Fox.
I think what we've seen the Saints do defensively is they've gone to the old bear defense, and they've covered all those linemen down inside the center and both guards and stacked everybody up inside, trying to slow that running game from Carolina down a little bit.
That's the first punt for Carolina since their opening possession. The old flip 90 play, coaches, you talked about. And boy, is that going to be a horse collar? That's Kuechly. They don't call it. He takes down Sproles, and Kuechly coming into today's game, leading the NFL in tackles.
And the thing that's so impressive with Luke Kuechly right now is how fast he reads what's happening on offense and pulls the trigger. And by that I mean he sticks his foot in the ground and he goes. There's no hesitation. He diagnosed the play very, very well, and then his speed's taken over. Now that he's back in the middle where he's really comfortable, he's a totally different player. He was a good player outside, but
right.
I think he's really going to end up being one of the elite middle linebackers in this league.
Pickup of 2. Well, he's got one racing down the middle of the field, and it's picked off. Godfrey. Intended for Lance Moore. Charles Godfrey comes up with a key interception. That's his second of the season.
Well, one of the things that Carolina does so well is they are very patient and sink and bait him to make that throw, and then they drive on the football. They just lay back there. They don't get distorted. And one of the things that Drew does so well is distort the undercoverage. And these guys stay in their places within that zone underneath and drift slowly until that ball's committed, and then they break on it. And that's exactly what Godfrey did there.
Breeze's numbers are gaudy by all means. And we know about his 5,000 yards 3 years here, but he's also thrown 18 interceptions. That's tied for the most in the NFL.
Well,
Make that 19.
The only thing
Prior
I'd say,
to the snap, the replay booth buzzed. Therefore, the previous play will be reviewed.
Now they're checking to see if that ball, by rule, on a possession change was indeed cleanly intercepted. And the issue would be away from us, but Godfrey's got his back to us. We can't see if he...
Yeah. You don't know whether he was grappling with it or whether he made the catch.
And you may get a shot here. Boy, what an effort.
Wow, what a catch. You can see it hooked in his arm there. It didn't appear to touch the ground. His right arm, as he comes down, is hooked around the football there. You see it right there. Didn't touch the ground, as I can see.
The ball
did move, wiggled a little bit, but he's got possession of it. Yeah.
Yeah, the ball can move, but you have to maintain possession throughout the catch. The same rules would apply to a receiver. You've got to complete the catch past the ground.
And Luke Kuechly in tight coverage there, just what we're talking about with his speed, running with receivers and staying with them through the zone.
So our second booth review here.
And going back to your point about these interceptions, anytime you can have a 2-to-1 ratio as a quarterback, I think that's healthy. You know, 40 touchdowns plus and 20 interceptions. You don't like the numbers, but the 2-to-1 ratio always fits in terms of winning football. 2-to-1 or better. You like to have a 3-to-1, but anything less than that, and you're going to, of course, struggle. But a lot of touchdowns to offset those interceptions.
Godfrey starting the last two games at free safety for the injured Nakamura. And Godfrey, no stranger to fine money, $21,000 in fine money versus Oakland. That in addition to fines against Washington and Dallas. He plays hard. You like that, but this is the flip side of it, playing hard for the interception.
No, he just looked like he had that thing pinned to his body pretty good. I'd be surprised if they overturn this.
We were surprised a little on the last one too.
Yeah, it's all about the angle that these officials see, but if there's not conclusive evidence, then they really cannot overturn it.
Here's Al Riveron.
The ruling on the field stands. Carolina will retain the ball, first down.
So a big turnover. Carolina will take over in great field position. Ball spotted at the 36-yard line.
And it was hard. That whole group on the field, all the officials probably had a very difficult time seeing whether he actually caught this or not. And I think they probably had to go up to the booth.
So a turnover apiece for each team. Both teams coming into this game very good in the turnover department. A +2 turnover ratio for the Saints and a +1 turnover ratio for the Panthers starting the game. Quick throw and a strike to Smith. Smith down to the 5.
This comes right out of the Saints playbook. Now you've got that running game going. You show to DeAngelo Williams, you flash the ball to him, and that whole inside of the defense just disappears.
Wow. 31 yards. Nobody in the window there. No backer to throw over or anything.
No, they took the cheese in the flake, and they were all up towards the line of scrimmage. There's a big window back behind the linebacker group there because of the play fake.
First and goal. Panthers with a chance to take the lead. Williams is down to the 1-yard line. Cam Newton now. 7,881 career passing yards, the most all time for a quarterback in his first 2 seasons, overtaking Peyton Manning.
And you wouldn't have thought this was going to happen when you saw the first half of the season. He has turned it on here in the last 8 games.
Big Mike Tolbert, and he bowls his way into the end zone. His second touchdown of the day.
It's the same play, Ron, that they scored earlier. It's that off-tackle power. They got all those defensive linemen down the gaps, their nose in the ground basically, and you knock them down with angle blocks by the offensive line and run off tackle. You take a look here. Take a look here at we're pinning this thing right there with the offensive line, and they can't move laterally. It stuffs everybody there, and just the point of attack opens up.
Extra point is good, and the Carolina Panthers take the lead by 3. as we wind down the third quarter in the 2012 season finale. And for both of these teams now, of course, no playoffs. That's unfortunate the way they're playing this game. They're playing it like a playoff game. But we talk about, Coach, the NFC playoff picture, and really it's hot in the NFC East. Nothing has been decided as of yet. A big game later on tonight, but you know, Chicago's still involved in that. San Francisco, Seattle, both teams now, they got to win in order to claim the division championship in the NFC West.
And the one that's really interesting, of course, is the Minnesota-Green Bay game. That's a tight 7-3 ball game, and they've got a chance. Minnesota, now this is a must-win for them, and they've got to let everything hang out on this thing, and hopefully Adrian Peterson can do that and get that record that he's chasing.
That's right. The Giants need to win and have Dallas lose or tie, plus they need Chicago to lose and Minnesota to lose. So they got a lot of stuff that they are hoping for to happen, but in that situation, you take care of your house first, right?
Yeah, no question. The Giants have been so good at doing that. This time of year, they just seem to be playing their best football, and who knows that those things don't happen, but they have really proven at this time of year, each year, that they're a team to contend with.
That ball kicked into the end zone for a touchback, and here comes Drew Brees. Last time out, he threw the pick that led to 6. 27-24. Game started out kind of sluggish. 3 points with Carolina controlling the football and keeping Brees off the field. Second quarter, 27 unanswered points by the Saints. They really got it cranked up. Coming out here in the second half, you see the Carolina Panthers make some nice adjustments.
Well, they really have. And one of the things that they've done such a great job of is their coverage has been so tight on these receivers. You can see Luke Kuechly on the interception run stride for stride with the receiver. So they have really been disruptive defensively.
Empty backfield throw, pumped it, saw his crosser instead. That's Sproles. Sproles about 9 yards. And some key plays today. You can actually file this away in a department of turnovers that almost were. Looked like the Saints recovered, did give them the ball. Next play, Williams starts to crank it up on the way to 171 yards rushing, and then the interception by Godfrey. Colbert, his second touchdown of the day. That puts us at a 3-point game. Carolina retaking the lead.
And of course, the interception by Vilma was a big play in this game that stymied Carolina for a while.
Long out by Joseph Morgan.
You know, Joseph Morgan is the guy that Drew Brees had talked about. You know, this is a guy that he's very excited about getting involved in the offense. He really likes the hookup, has a good feel for his routes, and really feels like he's got a terrific future here with his speed and the matchups. He likes that one-on-one matchup with Morgan on the outside.
That's good for 8 yards and a first down.
White 5-9.
Ivory at the tailback spot.
Ready. 90 plus shot.
Ivory into the fray. A pickup of 1. You mentioned it all day long, Coach. This Carolina Panther defense, they are underrated, and they have slid under the radar. They're a lot better than people think they are.
And even with some of the issues they've had in the secondary with injuries over the year, they've hung in there. And one of the things that makes them so good, I think, is technically they're so sound with their leverage and their position all the time. They're such a good tackling defense. You don't see big plays get out there and have safeties or linebackers miss tackles.
They're doing it without the services of Chris Gamble, gone for the season, along with John Beeson. That's exactly why Kuechly had to move inside. Draw. Sproles. Boy, they hold it to a relatively modest game. Call it 5, and you call it modest when a guy like that gets the ball, it can make you miss.
Well, and when he got in the line of scrimmage, it looked like he was going to get a 10, 15-yard gain, and it just disappears because of the speed and reaction of the rest of the defense.
Kuechly on the tackle.
You just don't see these guys get out of position. When that ball commits, you see a bunch of white jerseys on the football.
This will be the last play of the third quarter. Waiting for the long corner route to clear. Oh, and it's short. Almost had it picked off by Munnerlyn. And that is the end of the third quarter. 27-24. Carolina holding on Fox NFL Sunday will return after these messages and a word from your local Fox station. We start the fourth quarter here in New Orleans, and a quick look at the quarterback comparison.
And that interception was a big one. Of course, it was a pick six, and you really can't fault him for that. You know, it's that screen where he had to kind of throw that thing blind, but well, what a resurgence by Drew Brees after that first quarter, huh? Last two quarters have been outstanding.
That's right, and then a resurgence by Carolina. They have scored the last two times.
Well, and the running game has been so vital to their success so far. They've done a terrific job up front, particularly with those inside three offensive linemen that are relatively new.
That ball pushed into the end zone for a touchback, 57 yards in the air. That's a nice one. So Cam Newton, he's been under control here today for the most part. Last week he was not under control in some situations, picked up some hefty fine money as a result of a little altercation with referee Jerome Boger, and also kicking Tommy Kelly, the Raiders defensive lineman.
Yeah, it's part of the maturity that he needs to go through, and you just don't like to see that. He's got to get that out of his game completely if he's going to realize his full potential.
Play action, the quick one out to Tolbert, and Tolbert is still rolling. That's a load now. Tolbert at almost 260, tight roping the sideline, boy, and we still go back to how does he not make the Pro Bowl? Jerome Felton from Minnesota picked in the Pro Bowl. Do we have a flag down? Yes, we do. .22 yards on the pickup by Tolbert. Let's see if it stands. Tolbert.
Yeah. Personal foul, face mask, number 90 on the defense. Ooh. The 15-yard penalty will be added to the end of the run. First down.
That's Turk McBride.
Wow.
Boy, that's big time.
Well, and those long plays happen when a safety comes up and does not finish the play. And we saw earlier in some of these runs, the role of those safeties in the running game and these short passes is you've got to stop the bleeding right there and make it a 10 or an 8-yard gain and not let that thing get downfield like we saw happen right there.
Saints' first penalty of the day. He wanted to go deep, the pressure got there, but he still completes the ball. And that's Murphy as Newton's slow to get up. Boy, he's hurt. And boy, very unsportsmanlike, and you're hearing people in the crowd clapping, but
I don't understand this.
That's poor taste.
You know why you would cheer for any athlete. Oh my goodness.
Yeah, he got rolled on that ankle.
He did.
That's McBride, who had just been called for the face mask. Just getting started here in the fourth. We'll be back to check on Superman Cam Newton. Back here in New Orleans, Cam Newton able to walk off the field under his own power. That's good news. But now the second step in this whole process, they check out the knee or the ankle. Not sure exactly which one, but it seems to be the left leg for sure.
Well, he had that foot caught in the surface there, and you're not really sure. The angle's a bad angle, but the knee was at a bad angle as well. Boy, it was. Don't need that, obviously, here. Where this organization's going with Cam, that's hard to see.
Anderson steps in at quarterback for the second time today and gives the ball to Williams. Williams picks up 2.
Yeah, let's take a look at this again, and it's kind of hard to watch here, but as you see him release the ball right here, the foot gets caught down here, as you guys can see, and then the knee gets bent. Oh, boy. This is another angle of it. And right there, you can see it just kind of bend and twist there. And hopefully it's not as serious as that looks. Hopefully it's just a strain and nothing gets torn there.
So it's Derek Anderson's game. He's got a 3rd and 2. His first throw. He's got man-to-man coverage going deep. And a flag goes down, intended for Murphy. Johnny Patrick on the coverage.
kind of impressed with that. What, taking a pump and go on 3rd and 2.
Coach, I know you like that. That fits your style
Holding,
perfectly.
number 32, defense. 5-yard penalty, automatic first down.
Look at that, and you got the hold.
And he obviously didn't think about it. He didn't think it was they were going to do that as well. He's hanging on for dear life. So
I'll tell you what, Johnny Patrick, that's a nice play because he had actually gotten him on the stutter inside and go up the field.
So you just got to hang on for dear life. He saved a touchdown for sure. But what a nice call there, huh?
So Derek Anderson with the quick throw there. The man who started off in Cleveland, bounced around the NFL for a little bit. Spent a year in Arizona, a year in Baltimore. He'll hand this one off. And he'll drive it inside the 25-yard line. A pickup of 7. That's Williams. Let's go down to Krista.
Ron, Cam Newton was on the training table getting his ankle wrapped. They taped it over the shoe. He just got up. He never took his helmet off. He is now walking around on the sideline. He never took his face off of the video board, watching every play that happened. He's now sitting back on the table after walking on the ankle a little bit. Again, they taped over his shoe. The training staff now going to tape his other ankle as well.
Yeah, great observation there, Krista. Maybe to balance things out. And he looks as though he's going to try to get back in this game. And a game it is, 3-point game just starting the 4th quarter. Williams has been on fire. 180 yards rushing and 14 carries. Not much there. Vilma is there, and that's a loss of 1.
Well, they've had so much success up inside there. I was a little disappointed there in D'Angelo. Maybe he couldn't get it back inside, but that hesitation, you just got to make a decision and go with it. And especially down here when you're looking at just 3 or 4 yards. You got to move that pile, and he's done such a good job all game of doing that. Got a little indecisive there.
3rd and 4. Cam Newton has just left the game with an injured left leg. Derek Anderson, the vet, has stepped in. He'll throw his 2nd of the day, and he's got a man. That's LaFell, and LaFell down to the 11-yard line. We'll see where they mark the forward progress on the slide. As you look at Newton, he's got both ankles taped, so it is the ankle. And we'll see if he comes back in.
There's that hole right there that he's going to get to. The inside receiver, Greg Olsen, pulls the underneath defender out of there and just put it in an excellent place. Had a real chance if he kept his feet. He might have scored there.
Anderson's last significant playing time in a season back with the Cardinals in 2010. He started 9 games, threw for over 2,000 yards, compiled a 65 quarterback rating.
Yeah, and they're burning a timeout there, and he's upset with himself because he had I think what he did is he called the play wrong in the huddle.
Let's go back down to Chris Devoda.
Well, Cam Newton has been throwing some balls on the sidelines, and I just watched the head trainer give the thumbs up to Coach Rivera. Cam Newton is planning on going back in this game.
Looks like it. That's what Superman does, right?
Well, I think one of the reasons to tape the foot because you're going to have a tendency to favor it now, and you put a lot of pressure on that, so you just want to make sure you're nice and firm there with both ankles. And here comes Cam. He's limping back into the huddle, so Cam is back. Cam Newton is back.
So Anderson, I guess you could say from a stat point, no real drop-off. He came out slinging as well.
Well, he did, and credit Chadinsky for not backing off on play selection either.
That's right. He was able to get a key first down on the throw to LaFell. Panthers knocking at the door. 1st and 10 for Newton. Another quick throw, dropped by Tolbert.
Well, Cam was just stuck at Cam Newton, threw it back behind his body just a little bit. Hard ball to handle for Tolbert.
Now, Coach, you twist your left ankle as a quarterback. How does that affect the throwing of the football?
Well, you don't finish as well in your throws, and it's going to affect his accuracy to some extent. You know, he does a good job of moving his feet. You just don't have that patter with your feet. You're just kind of playing off of one leg, and the ball's going to take off and do funny things on you.
2nd and 10. He's got Steve Smith at the bottom, LaFell in the slot. Is he going to run? No. Lets it go. It's caught. Is he in? Touchdown. No, wait. No. They call him out at about the 1-yard line.
Oh, shit.
Roman Harper on the coverage. It looked like he caught it in the end zone, but may have not secured the catch.
We did make the first down.
Ooh.
And I think that's an excellent call. That ball had not. Yeah, I think that's good.
Remember, he's got to secure the catch.
And when he has that ball, it doesn't look like
one foot's out, and the ball is.
The ball did not cross the line at all, did it?
Tolbert looking for touchdown number 3. He's in. Touchdown, Carolina.
Got another injured. It looks like Greg Olsen, if I can see. He went down a little bit.
So 3 touchdowns on the day for Big Mike Tolbert. Now Carolina with the iron fist here, leading 33-24.
What a drive. You lose your quarterback. Backup comes in. He performs well. Come back. Off the bench, Cam Newton throws a touchdown or sets up the 2-yard plunge. Tolbert again shows up big, doesn't he, Ron? Mike Tolbert.
Tolbert with the last 3 carries for him, 3 touchdowns. Not a bad run to touchdown average. 21 points rolling now unanswered for Carolina as they take the lead.
Mr. Touchdown.
A look at the scoring drive, 21 unanswered points now for Carolina.
You take a look at this offensive line, Byers at center and Austin and Williams, the 2 guards. That's a kind of last minute put together inside 3, and they've been exceptional so far in this game at opening holes and protecting the quarterback.
So with a 10-point lead, they'll put it away. Sproles at the 9 will sit on it.
You got to give credit to John Matsko, the offensive line coach.
Absolutely. 10-16 to play here in the finale. Carolina in control. 10-point game here in New Orleans, and get this, in spite of a 1-6 start by the Panthers, with a win today and a Tampa Bay lost to Atlanta, Carolina has a chance to finish 2nd in the division. Ingram with a good pickup, first down. He picks up about 8, and Drew Brees working down the field very quickly. Went right down the field right before the half. That led to the 53-yard field goal. Then,
you know, the thing about this too, Ron, if you're sitting on the other side as a head coach, you know no lead is safe. I don't care how big it is, whether it's a 10-point or 21-point lead, it's just not safe for this group.
Kuechly there on the tackle. Ingram again, a pickup of 1.
Very patient, trying to keep that pass rush, you know, stymied somewhat by run the football inside. Make them play the run, and this will pay dividends off, I think, here somewhere in the series with some play action. Get it into that makeable 3rd down, which they haven't done the last few series.
This is one of those makeable 3rd downs, 3rd and 2. Looking quick, pressure, sack. Never even saw him. Charles Johnson with his 2nd sack of the day.
Well, this is an outstanding offensive line here too. Look at Charles Johnson come off the edge here. You know, he doesn't get the chip that he was kind of expecting. This is a 3-step drop, so you can see the tackle, the right tackle, Zach Strief, cut him. And so he expects that ball to be thrown, and if you don't get it thrown and the offensive linemen are cut, you're going to get sacked.
So that's a loss on the play of 8 yards. And the second 3 and out by the Saints. Oh, and we got one here. That's Amani Edwards trying to blow this thing wide open. Morstead runs him down and saves the touchdown. But that's 69 yards for Amani Edwards. Talk about game changers.
And you could see on the sideline of Carolina, they just came unglued. It looked like popcorn over there popping up and down. This is a very emotional game for them. This big divisional rivalry that they have is coming down to the wire again.
You talk about earning your Pro Bowl money, Coach. Morstead runs down Amani Edwards, a 3rd-year man out of Appalachian State. saves the touchdown, but it sets up great field position for Carolina.
You don't think that Armani Edwards isn't going to hear about this in the meeting rooms? They'll probably have a picture of him when he comes back next year, you know, something to remember from the last game of the season.
Well, meanwhile, Saints defense in big trouble. Williams, he's been hot all day long, and he'll be hot again. Touchdown, Carolina. Nice leap over the cameraman.
It's that off-tackle power play that they've scored 3 times now on, where they pull the guard and attack that edge over there and cut the defense, so to speak. And boy, there's just nobody get there. And take a look here. We got the guard pulling right there. There's a kick-out block. Pours it up. Has a chance to pour it up inside. They fit that hole, and he bounces around it. So on that play, you just give the backup freedom to cut it back, hit the hole, or bounce outside. And if that defender buries his shoulder down inside, then you tell the runner, hey, take that thing outside. That's, of course, what D'Angelo did. But they've scored now 4 plays on this.
Carolina, 5th rushing touchdown today as Williams chalks up 2. Tolbert chalks up 3. And the Panthers pouring it on in the finale, leading big, 41-24. Boy, a season high for D'Angelo Williams, 16,191. In fact, make it a career high. And he could thank the guy to his right, Armani Edwards. Pulled out a big one. Huge punt return. Didn't score on it, but he got it down there close to the goal line, and Williams did the rest. 41-24.
And I think we're looking at a Carolina team that's making a statement there to ownership that this is the guy that we want around here. They're playing strong in all 3 phases, talking about Ron Rivera.
This is Sproles trying to make something happen. Boy, he almost did, out to the 19-yard line. Our Fox NFL Sunday doubleheader continues next with America's Game of the Week. 3 games with huge playoff implications. The Packers and Vikings, the Cardinals and 49ers. 49ers need to win in order to take the division. So do the Seahawks. They need to win to take the same NFC West division.
And you've been up there in Seattle, and you know how hard that is for any team to go in there. But when there's playoff consequences, that place just rock and roll. I think it's the hardest venue right now in the league to play.
If you have to go out there and play in a game, a playoff game, it's going to be a much different team. That's a long corner route, and that's complete. That's Devery Henderson. Henderson working on Dockery, and that's Henderson's first catch of the day. He's in a contract year, free agent at the end of the season, unrestricted free agent. That means he's free to go anywhere.
And this is where Drew Brees is so difficult, because he sees the coverage, he knows what he's getting, and they're playing in a 2-minute mode. These checkdowns now to Sproles, they're always big gains, but when you spread out that defense for Drew Brees and empty it out, the set out where all receivers are spread in a formation, defense has got to kind of declare, and when that happens, you protect him. He's going to complete it, boy. He's as good as there is at doing this.
12 yards for Sproles. The out to Graham. Graham stays in bounds. That's Dockery.
There's just an energy and a sense of urgency about this group. Just watching him come back to the line of scrimmage, and watching Drew Brees' body language. He's at this is his moment. This is what he's all about. He loves this stuff.
Put together a game-winning drive last week against the Cowboys. And there's another reception just inside the 30-yard line.
But he came out
limping a little.
He pumped it to Sproles down on as a check down. They took the cheese on, and he whistled it right back behind him. He's just a master at manipulating these zone undercoverages.
3:01 for Brees, over the 300-yard passing mark again. Tried to fit that one into Graham, incomplete. That's Charles Godfrey. Godfrey already with a huge interception in the second half. Breaks that one up.
Zach Strief, that was he had an outstanding block there. Just absolutely dominated Charles Johnson. I think Charles, his tank is a little bit empty right now. He's been rushing the pass for the last 4 snaps, but if you can't rotate your guys up front enough in there, that's going to happen. that group up front with 5 down linemen or 5 offensive linemen to be able to hold up like they do, that's pretty outstanding.
And it's not intercepted. Should have been. Looks like Josh Thomas had about 3 chances for it, intended for Colston.
You see the pressure. Drew slid to his left a little bit. I don't know whether he felt like Colston was going to be a little bit steeper with his route, or if he kind of fooled him with the angle on the bend. Who knows? He may have just missed him, but it looked like he kind of expected him to be a little bit more up the field with the route.
Third and 10. Incomplete, intended for Colston again. The hard hit there by Kuechly.
Boy, can Luke Kuechly cover ground. He has his head on a swivel, and he is absolutely reacting to what Drew Brees is doing with his eyes. But he has that speed to accelerate when that ball comes off his hand and make the play.
Some finals coming in from around the league. The Giants over the Eagles, but the bad news for Giants fans, the Bears beating Detroit. The Giants needed Chicago to lose that game. By virtue of the win, the Giants are out. 4th down. And it's converted. Boy, that's Drew Brees. Great catch there by Moore.
You let him hold the ball like that and play a soft zone, it's just, well, bad things are going to happen for you at defense. And it's just, you got to change up. You have to be able to play that defense, but you can't always pressure and play snug in coverage.
Quick out, it's caught. That's Colston again. Munnerlyn shaken up. Munnerlyn jogs off the field.
Well, managing this kind of a 2-minute situation or a 2-minute offense, when you have this kind of time on the clock and you need several scores here, you don't want to use these timeouts now. You just kind of count on the incomplete passes and whatnot to stop the clock for you.
Anderson Russell comes in, and that play is caught. That's a touchdown, Colston. Nine yards, Brees to Colston.
And Colston has been injured all year with that plantar fascia, and he's just kind of played with it. It has affected him. His numbers are outstanding, but I think he hurt his hand there in that play before and still made that catch.
And I think he hurt his, re-aggravated that plantar fascia deal that you talked about earlier on the drive, fought through it. 11-point game, extra point, clean, no flags, 10-point game, plenty of time if you're Drew Brees and the Saints, though.
Well, it's almost too much time. You got 5 minutes, and now Carolina's got to go to work and managing that clock and keeping that ball away from the Saints if they're going to win this. If they're 3 and out here, that'd be disastrous. You know, to give Drew Brees and this group just another opportunity to repeat another one of those famous comebacks that he has done so many times.
So that ends a 28-0 run by Carolina. That score, Brees to Colston. It'll give the Saints a little breathing room.
What will be interesting here is the approach now for Carolina. Will they be conservative, or will they continue to play this game the way they have, which got them the 41 points? Or will they be real conservative? And, you know, in this situation, Ron, I've always felt like until it gets down there around that 3-minute area, you just continue to play the game the way you have what got you to this point, and not get conservative and go 1-2-3 kick and we scout the football cha-cha. You don't want that. Continue to do what you do.
Yeah, well, and what I would do is that man right there, 191 yards, a career high rushing for D'Angelo Williams. They haven't been able to slow him down.
No, they haven't. The other thing you can do, unfortunately, with Cam's bad ankle, you'd like to see him do some nakeds and bootlegs off with some run fakes, but
onside kick. Jordan Sin is all over it. Didn't fool anyone. Update time. Let's go out to Los Angeles. Check in with Patrick O'Neill.
All right, Ron, thank you. Coming up next, most of you will catch America's game of the week. Packers and the Vikings. Aaron Rodgers in Green Bay with a win. They clinch a first-round bye. Minnesota wins, and they are in the postseason. Plus, Adrian Peterson going for the rushing record. It's going to be exciting. That game next on Fox. Ron, Coach Martz, back to you.
Okay, Patrick, thanks. We had a flag just before we went out to Los Angeles.
Penalty, first down.
That's going against the Saints.
I know Joe Vitt's got to be frustrated with that. You just got to hold your water, so to speak, and just can't have personal fouls. Just cannot have that happen.
Personal foul going against Graham. I mentioned earlier that the Tampa Bay Buccaneers were involved in the Carolina Panthers' second place possibility. If the Panthers won today and Tampa Bay lost to Atlanta, Carolina would finish second place because of the sweep they would have against the Saints, but that won't hold true. Tampa Bay with the 22-17 win over Atlanta, and of course Atlanta, coach, probably resting a lot of guys, being that they have home field in the first round bye throughout the playoffs.
Well, no question, and they're trying to protect their guys and keep them fresh for the playoffs and let them recover. Career day for D'Angelo Williams though today, huh, Ron? Look at some of these runs that he's reeled off, and a lot of these are up inside, and a lot of the runs you think are going to be outside and get in that outside lane, but boy, this is up to gut stuff, and you got to credit those inside three, the offensive line for the Carolina Panthers and the work that they've done, and of course John Matsko, the offensive line coach, and getting these guys ready to play this game. So kudos to John and that group. They've done a terrific job against the Saints group today.
With 190 yards rushing, he's got more than a third of his total that he came in with at the start of today's game. And had 2 touchdowns to that. He only had 3 coming in, and that's the play in the backfield, a loss. Jonathan Vilma.
Well, it's still a 10-point game, and
timeout called by the Saints, a loss of 1 on the play. So the Saints with 1 timeout left, Carolina with 1.
And it just, with this 4:19 left in the game, now this is, you still got to try and get that first down. He's just kicking the field goal long distance here may not be the answer.
Saints losing a challenge or a timeout on a challenge that they lost earlier in the game. So that would put them with 1 left. Carolina, they got to be thinking, get a first down and roll the clock. Williams almost got out of there. He's going to be about 4 yards shy of the first.
Well, what's more important, though, he got about 6 yards, which really puts it in a much better field goal position.
Coach, we talked about the Saints as they use their final timeout, giving up an NFL history record of total yards in 1 season. So if Sean Payton comes back, like we are pretty sure that's going to happen, just needing league approval on the contract, what would be some of the areas defensively that he would address first?
Well, I think he's happy with the defense and Steve Spagnuolo. I think he's obviously a terrific defensive coordinator and like the system. They've got some holes here defensively, particularly in the secondary, the safety position. When you have big plays happening like that, generally the first play you look at is safety play, and these guys are the last line of defense, so to speak, and they're just not getting it done sometimes. So,
Gano, 42 yards out, and it's good. And boy, that's all but an icer there with no timeouts left. As you see, the yardage total giving up today alone, 4th game, allowing over 500 yards.
And these big runs, Ron, have come inside. So you got to start looking at some of these defensive linemen, interior defensive linemen, which is the hardest position to find to me on defense. You've got to get guys like Edwards over on the Panthers, 5 sacks that get a good push, and they're in position in the running game, and don't put all the pressure on those linebackers. Because I think the linebackers are a good group. I think up front they've got to help themselves, and I think they got to help themselves in the secondary. Particularly if they want to do what Steve Spagnuolo wants to do and some of the pressures that he's famous for, you got to have some guys in the back end that can make it happen.
The Panthers with 507 total yards there, 250 rushing, 257 passing. And Carolina coming into today's game ranked 21 in the NFL in points per game, averaging only 20 points a game.
Well, and I think it's, this whole football team has improved in the last 6 or 7 weeks, and certainly that's part of it. The scoring has improved as well in that period of time.
Sproles will take the knee and the touchback. 4:08 to play.
You go back and look at Carolina in the poor start, 1-6, and then look at Ron Rivera, and under those circumstances to come back and do the job that he has done to get this team competitive again and win those games that they weren't winning earlier. And you just can't say enough about how competitive this group is right now and hitting on all cylinders, in terms of the 3 phases: special teams, defense, and offense.
First and 10, Breeze looking deep. Boy, he wanted it a couple times. It's not there, throws it out to Graham. Graham fighting for it for about 9.
We had Colson, but it was late, and he just couldn't find him. You lost him in the pile there, and Colson did a pump and go down the middle of the field, and he did have him open, but it was just a little bit too late.
Second and 1. They convert. And Graham doesn't get out of bounds, but he'll be close to the 40-yard line. In fact, they'll mark it just beyond the 40-yard line. Great job by our crew all season long, led by our technical producers Matt Benedict and Steve Joyle, and the technical director Damon McGavin. Complete again to Graham.
It's hard to throw a more accurate ball than what he is right now. He is on a mission. That ball is coming out of there fast, and that defensive front, they're trying to get in and out. They're exhausted. They're tired.
Graham looking for his second 1,000-yard receiving season. Backdoor throw, and the flag goes, intended for Colston. Munnerlyn with the push.
This is why with this group, it's just never enough points.
Number 41 defense.
Just never enough points.
Clicks, the spot of the foul.
That's right.
Automatic first down.
Mark Butler and Bob Charlap are audio mixers. Scott Beals and Steve Grant in the videotape department. Elisa Arden and Ed Schraber and Matt Cross lead our graphics team. First and 10 Saints. Carolina 35, dump off screen. Nice block there, you can hear that. Sproles looking for the goal line. He'll get it, touchdown Saints. 33 yards. Key block there by the center, Brian De La Fuente.
You know how fast that happened? Unbelievable how quick they get in the end zone, isn't it? They just, you get them in a 2-minute offense, it's okay. We were just playing before. Now this is the real deal.
Sproles, that's his 7th receiving touchdown of the season. Extra point good, 44-38. A shootout. Carolina trying to hold on here. No timeouts for the Saints. 1 timeout left for Carolina.
Take a look at Grubbs here, the left guard. 66, watch this block. He sets it up, he comes downfield. Well, here's a kick out, and this is what starts it. Covers him up. We got a little holding going on here, it looked like, but
didn't call it.
Not if you don't call it, don't see it, but it looked like he had a little bit of a grab. I think that's what they were complaining about, but I think you almost call that on every play, actually. But to Josh Thomas' credit, he didn't go down, did he? He hung in there and played it very well. And that's good fundamental football for what he did. He took it with his shoulder, stayed underneath the blocker, played it off, and turned it back into the rest of the defense.
Boy, the crack on that screen. You're the first man in on that screen. You got to turn it inside at all costs.
How much fun is that, Ryan?
Yeah, that's great fun. Yeah. Well, we have a moment back out to Los Angeles. Another update, Patrick O'Neill.
Hey, Ron, well, from 2 wins last year to 11 this year. How about the Indianapolis Colts? Andrew Luck, T.Y. Hilton, 70 yards. The Houston Texans reeling a bit. 28-16 final. We know that Baltimore will host Indy next week. Ron, Coach Marks, back to you.
Boy, what a year for Indianapolis. And another onside. And that ball knocked out of bounds. Boy, here they go. Jimmy Graham involved again. He got an unsportsmanlike personal foul last time. There we go.
Well, you could read his lips last time when he was sitting on the bench. He said, well, he started it. You know, it's incomprehensible veteran. He started it.
And now that's you versus you there. You know, they're going to talk it out. Olsen comes over. Another University of Miami guy. He's going to calm down the other Miami guy. Guess it worked.
I'm looking. There he is right there. They're going after him.
I wouldn't pick Tolbert.
Tolbert's the last guy I think I want to pick a fight with. But
After the play was over, personal foul, unnecessary roughness, number 54, New Orleans. The 15-yard penalty will be added. First down, Carolina.
Well, they get Will Herring, the backup linebacker, for the call. And the bottom line is this is going to hurt the Saints.
well, I know Joe Vitz is frustrated. He's done such a good job all year keeping things together in an impossible situation. And he's got to be furious about this. Yeah, they'd come back. There's plenty of time. There really is plenty of time here, and now they put him in just a terrific position.
So with 2:52 to left, the Saints with no timeouts, a 1st and 10. Ball spotted at the 33-yard line. Williams and another flag. Boy, things getting messy. I want to continue to thank our Fox crew for their service all year long. We'll wait on Al.
Illegal use of the hands, number 77, defense. 5-yard penalty, automatic first down.
Bunkley. And a look at the AFC playoff picture. Patrick O'Neill just mentioned Indianapolis. We'll see Baltimore. Indy along with the Bengals, solidifying those 2 wild card spots.
And those Bengals are coming on again very, very strong. The passing game mixed with the run, real balance on offense.
Williams outside again. Already a career day for Williams. He stays in bounds and keeps the clock running.
Well, at this point now, you get it down to 2 minutes, and it becomes a kneel down, possible 2 minute here, and the clock should get down. It's really close here. The clock, whether they're going to get the 2 minutes, let it go all the way down to the 2 minute point here. It's 13 seconds on both the play clock and the stadium clock.
They switch it up. Tolbert jumps over the top. And before that carry, 210 yards rushing. Leads the team, a team record for rushing in a game for Carolina. 2-minute warning. Two-minute warning is over here in New Orleans. 44-38, Carolina with an offensive explosion. They've hit big plays all over the second half, and Cam Newton out of the game twice, shaken up, back in, and he's trying to put the finishing touches on this one. Tolbert grinding. He'll be about a yard shy of the first.
But they are absolutely not going to kneel down. They're going to try and get this one in the end zone. And they really could have let this clock go all the way down and kneel down, you know, they couldn't stop the clock once it got past 2 minutes. So
last time these two teams played here last year, same situation, season
Number
finale.
73 is eligible.
The Saints beat up on the Panthers. The Carolina Panthers accused the Saints of leaving players in, running up the score. Saints said, hey, we're all about the playoffs and tuning up. Well, let's see if Carolina tries to return the favor. Tolbert hit, keeps his feet moving. Let's see where they mark it. They're going to call it a first down.
it'll be interesting here to see if they kneel down, if they're going to try and score.
Tim LaBeouf, Jimmy Burns, Tommy Skinner, our cameramen, done a great job all year long. Special thanks to my spotter, Seth Jacobson, and statistician Mitch Smith, along with Jason Mongo Thornberry.
Yeah, Mongo in there. It's been a real pleasure being here with you, Ron. I've learned so much.
Absolutely. A pleasure working with you, Coach. And our producer, P.T. Navarro, and director, Jeremy Green. And, Coach, I hope I see you next year.
Yeah, I do, too. This has been a lot of fun. I appreciate everything that you've done for me and the help that you've given me.
It's been a pleasure to work with you. I learned a lot about the game, especially offensively.
Well, thank you. We've got this group right here now. This is a rivalry for the ages. It's going to come up again next year, isn't it?
America's Game of the Week coming up. We've got some good ones. That's the final from here in New Orleans. So long, everybody.